to sit, instead of feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it is the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the caffeine, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. 1 sip, 2 sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it is the best way to survive. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the caffeine, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. 1 sip, 2 sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the caffeine, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. 1 sip, 2 sips, and I'm feeling so alive.
I have to mute when that's on because I'll be singing, y'all. My body moves when I hear music and I can't help but sing. Welcome in, Andy. Um, Good morning, everyone. Welcome in. Thanks for coming in and joining us. Sirius Black's here. Forrest is here. Firefly and Joe, thanks for coming up on panel and co-hosting with me today. I appreciate that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, 12 Gauge. I haven't been in your. Have you been live lately, dude? I've been sleeping a lot in the evenings because I usually catch 12 Gauge around 9 o'clock at night. He's usually on.
He was on last night.
Was he on last night? What was I doing last night? Oh, I was reviewing stuff last night. Good morning, Miss Dolphin. Get yourself awake and get that tea. We need you. You know she got to get up and get her tea. We're going to give everybody a chance to get in here and get woke up. It is a Friday, and I am feeling a little salty. I've been seeing some things on these YouTube streets that I don't like, and I'm not the YouTube police, but I will call out the bullshit when I see it because I'm so over it because 2.5 years of bullshit in Idaho 4 is enough. And now that parts of this 911 audio has been released to the mainstream media, the entire thing is coming, right? We know that. I don't agree that certain creators have decided all of a sudden they get to be the gatekeepers of the information and let it trickle out at their leisure, because then you're no better than the gag order that you've been bitching about for 2.5 years, right? So don't do it. It's weird. I get the sensitivity behind it, but I think you have communities that you can show it and listen to it, and they're going to be respectful, and you're going to have those communities that hear it and run with it and twist it and turn it and make it all the things it's not. And I think that a lot of us, no matter what side of the fence you sit on with this guilt or innocence with Kohberger, I think a lot of us had a problem with this 911 delay, right? We've tried so hard to understand it for 2.5 years. And I think those of us who are adults, who remember what it was like to be that age, some of us who have kids that age, could get there and could understand why these things were happening. And we tried to talk about it for 2.5 years, but nobody wanted to listen to it, right? And then you add in the people like Tommy Jude, who makes up shit, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Then you got your, WSU Mom Kim coming in on her high horse, spending 1.5 years on every platform she could possibly get on to be heard, telling you how horrible these kids were, all the things they were involved with. Nobody's backed up any of these things with receipts on these victims. Now, of course, I believe in a defendant's basic constitutional rights. I said basic because you are innocent until proven guilty, but you wouldn't be sitting there arrested if there wasn't some sort of probable cause. Even in Delphi, there was probable cause. I'm going to be slap ass honest about every case I cover. And y'all know me, I cover Delphi and Idaho completely different because I see them completely different based on what I saw from court record, not based on what I heard out on these YouTube streets. If I heard it on the YouTube streets, I don't even want to talk about it at some point, right? I'm going to go look for the information, try to verify it or debunk it before I talk about it. It's just gotten so out of hand. And I know that this call gets released in its entirety. There will be people out there. And y'all, the whole point of me doing this is just for you, the guys in the community. I know some of you go to these other channels. I don't know why. If you're just trying to get, their take plus everybody else's take to get your conclusions, and I get that and respect it, but you need to be careful about what you're hearing out there. Because when they absolutely admit on an open YouTube panel that they are lying, that should be a big, big red flag. Thank you, 12 Gauge. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're always welcomed here. You know that. I enjoy you. Thanks for that. We really appreciate it. I just, I think a lot of us get to the point where it's like, gosh, leave it alone. There's already enough bizarre stuff with these cases, right? As far as the fighting between the defense and the prosecution, trying to get the evidence out there and all these things. We don't need all that extra drama brought in. Like, it's just so unnecessary. But for clicks and views, people think they have to do it. And let me promise you this. In the beginning, 2.5 years ago, certain creators honed in very quickly, oh, we're going to make a bank on this Kohberger's innocent train. And once they boarded that train, they couldn't get off that train. A couple of them tried, but they couldn't get away from it because their community wasn't going to have it anymore. You've been saying for all this time, this guy's innocent. Now you're leaning, oh, he could be guilty. No, we don't like you no more. Then you got your content creators out there for 1.5 years, got 1,000,000,000%. Somebody else did it. Then all of a sudden flips her shit and nope, Brian Kohberger did it. Okay, I respect your flip, but I'm still not sure what caused that flip. You know what I mean? Now I can't trust you because for 1.5 years, you absolutely told me with 1,000,000% certainty that it was Brent Kopacka. Now you have 1,000,000% certainty it's Brian Kohberger. Okay. So for 1.5 years, you confused the community. Then you flip now trying to get them on your side. And they're like, what the hell's going on here? So it's odd to me, that some of the things that go on the streets. Now, we do know, I don't know if all of you know, Gray Hughes and Drunk Turkey got a FOIA request and got the audio call. It is not an AI thingy. It's a real 911 call. They did get it. I don't know why they're not releasing it yet. They've decided they need to be all sensitive. I get it, whatever. But Gray Hughes then went on Banfield last night and did release part of that audio. And she shared it on her show. And we're going to take a listen to it. We can also refer back to the transcript because from what Gray Hughes and what Drunk Turkey said, and which, Dolphin, we've discussed this in Firefly, that it just didn't seem cohesive, and they both said the same thing. I really didn't watch a lot of Gray's take on it until I saw him on Ashley Banfield, but I listened to Daniel's take on it, and so there are some just differences in the transcript and what you hear on the actual call, right? There's way more to it. Yep. And we're going to get into a discussion about the details of the call here in just a bit. But we'll start out by I'll play you guys. Now, I'm not playing this because I'm not going to throw shade at Dylan Mortensen. And I'm saying her name because everybody knows the name.
I'm back.
Or Bethany, or Hunter, or Emily, because they're all innocent people. There was nothing, for people to think, I'm still seeing, well, the roommates weren't thoroughly checked. Why do you think they weren't thoroughly investigated? They're the first ones you're going to investigate. Law enforcement's not come out and told you that, but go watch real true crime shows. You're going to be the first one to get investigated. And plus, you know, she told her statement over and over, and we all know how that went. We saw the sketchiness of that, and we understand the circumstances behind it. But people are really going to go after these roommates and try to, you know, make it something it's not. And I'm just want to be sensitive about airing it. You know, it's not to go after the roommates, but it's to try to understand what was going on. And we know it's going to come out eventually. So I don't have any problems sharing what was shared on Banfield this morning. Or I guess it was last night. I just saw it this morning when I got up.
Yeah, last night.
Did you see it last night, Firefly? Dolphin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's heartbreaking to hear, just even the first 23 seconds or whatever it is. It's just horrible. And
It
for
gave
people,
me chills.
for
Mhm.
people to be out here saying, "Oh, that's AI generated." I mean, come on, people. Like,
It's ridiculous. Of course they're going to say that. You know, we like you were talking about. We still have creators out there showing blurry images of things that they got from somewhere else and telling you what you see. This is an image of bodies being carried here and there, and you see a blurry blob. How do you see that if I can't see that, right?
it's ridiculous. And I'm just, oh my gosh.
You actually see a clear photo and you took it upon your conscience to blur it out so that we wouldn't be so dramatic, but yet you can tell me what is it? That's for no. That's not a receipt. That's a blob off a screen, you know, and it's like give us a break. So and why would it be AI? You know, I mean, who's saying that? The Pro Burger people?
Yeah.
Well, I thought they wanted a chaotic phone call, you know, to help Coburger out. So that's weird, isn't it? It's so weird how they'll say one thing, but it doesn't match up to other things they say. Okay, let me get this screen up. Oh, Lordy. Okay. Now, like I said, this was Ashley Banfield's show last night, and Gray Hughes did come on, and they discussed the 911 call.
Unbelievable breaking news. We now have heard for the very first time the frantic and chilling first report.
Now, mind you, I heard this about 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning, standing in my bedroom, and it really gave me chills too, Firefly. I mean, to put yourself in that place for a moment, you know what I mean? I'll ask of you guys to do that. Just put yourself in this place for the moment as if you were that 19-year-old girl.
Report of a slaughter at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. It came in the form of a 911 call from the surviving housemates, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, when they realized that their friends and fellow students hadn't just overslept or hadn't just slept somewhere else. Exactly how they realized this and what exactly they knew when they called the police, that part is still not completely clear. But a true crime YouTuber named Gray Hughes, who has heard the audio of the entire 911 call, has released the first 30 seconds of that call. And we have independently confirmed that the tape is authentic. Here it is.
911 location of your emergency.
Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what.
What is the address of the emergency?
1122.
What is the rest of the address?
Oh, Kings Road.
After listening to that, and from what Gray has told us about the rest of the tape, we now know that a written transcript that was released last week and reported on this program was not a complete representation of everything that was said and, of course, how it was said. For one thing, some key moments of the call are just missing from the transcript. But snippets of dialogue that aren't even on the recording are somehow included on the transcript. And obviously the words on the page, as you now have heard, they don't even come close to conveying the terror and the panic and the desperation.
Sorry, guys, I got to stop and address something here real quick because I'm so curious. Truth. A mural of Mount Rainier in Coburger's wall. You know that for a fact? Like you have.
In the basement.
We were looking at the photos. Oh, because that's what 12 Gauge was streaming last night. He was showing the Coburger's home and inside and a tour on it. But I'm not sure that was the furniture and the layout when they owned it. I don't really know.
The only reason why I'm asking is because in the search warrant return from the Pennsylvania home, there was something in that home that they took a picture of,
Yep.
but left there. So that's where I was curious where you guys were getting that from. Okay.
Yeah, possibly.
If that's true and that wasn't his, I don't know, because I've always tried to figure out what the hell he took a picture of and left. Right? Yeah, I know all about some Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was arrested in my hometown. I know all about some Ted Bundy. I've been studying serial killers for decades.
Inspiration on the part of those young callers. Here's an example from when the dispatcher says that help is on the way. According to the transcript, dispatcher says, okay, one moment, I'm getting help started that way. And the woman says, okay, and maybe. And the dispatcher, unintelligible, says, 1122 King Road, all ambulance respond for unconsciousness, 1122 King Road. Then another woman says, I copy. But the actual recording of the call is different. What's heard is, dispatcher says, okay, one moment.
Okay, there's a conversation going on over here, and y'all want to stick around because we're going to tackle some misinformation here soon. I don't know who you are, JS. Don't know where you come from. So yeah, y'all just be kind to one another over there in the chat. Don't get sideways so I don't have to get sideways. But we'll get into all that misinformation here real soon, I promise.
I'm getting help started that way. A woman says, what's wrong? Followed by 23 seconds of deep breathing and the words, poor Kaylee. Then a man says, get out, let's get out. Followed by what sounds like heavy footsteps going down a staircase. So what exactly does that tell us? It stands to reason that the dispatcher was switching between different lines, the King Road callers on one line and first responders on another line. And apparently those other conversations were included in the transcript. The man's exclamation, get out, let's get out of here. Well, that could possibly indicate that Dylan and or Bethany or the visitors actually went into Xana's room, or maybe upstairs to Kaylee's room, at which point their worst fears could have been realized. Or it could mean they saw something else. I'm joined now by someone who's heard the complete recording of the 911 call for himself. Gray Hughes is a popular true crime vlogger. He's host of the YouTube channel Gray Hughes Investigates. Gray, wow, that is really hard to hear. And I think I've read your transcript. I've seen your blog about this, and I think you're really on point. No one can see on a page what was conveyed by the voices on that call. Do you agree?
Yeah, I really appreciate what you said at the beginning. I think the attacks on Dylan and Bethany over the 2 years have just been horrendous. I actually think that they should have released the audio much earlier, because you absolutely can hear how terrified Dylan is. It's hard to tell when Dylan or Bethany is speaking. If Bethany is speaking, that's just what my perception is. But
JS, take it somewhere else. Honestly, did you come here just to troll truth? Like, I don't get it, but I've seen a lot of the things that she has said. She shares opinions and theories like the rest of us, but I haven't seen her do anything that you're over here saying she's done. She wouldn't be here if she did. So I don't know where you come from, or if you just came here for that purpose, but you can agree to disagree, but you don't need to be comfortable liars and doing the
How about you just share your opinion on the case instead of a person in the chat,
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Firefly.
But
Jess
when
is
you
in
listen
a
to
timeout
it,
now.
and they're just absolutely terrified. I sort of have a vision of that maybe they went up the stairs and sort of looked down the hallway, towards Xana's room and could see her body on the ground and never really went to the room. And they were just too scared to go verify their fears, something like that.
I keep thinking that the door was locked. I keep thinking that Xana's door was locked because had anybody actually opened the door and taken a look inside, which you would do if you're trying to reach your roommate who's not answering her door, right? You would open it and say, wake up, we're going to brunch, whatever it was. The call would have been a very different call. There would have been even more terror. There would have been more descriptions. There would have been a help, 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 help. There would have been a lot more. So I wonder at the point, and I'll get here in a moment with you, but I wonder at the point where the boys' voices start saying, get out, get out, get out, let's get out of here. And you can hear them all, what sounds like going down the stairs and possibly outside, that maybe either they broke down that door or maybe they could see under the bottom of the door with an iPhone light or something, and maybe they got a glimpse of something that was terrifying but didn't know what the entire picture was. But let me draw your attention to one thing that you heard and wasn't on the transcript. And then when we were able to go over that, you're absolutely right. There was the name Kaylee was mentioned, and it's not on the transcript. And you picked it out very, very quickly. It said, poor Kaylee.
All right, stop it. Because I'm going to tell y'all something right now. I'm no damn idiot. And there's not a damn thing that Truce over here telling me in my chat that I'm taking and running with and putting it all out there as facts. The way y'all are doing with the people y'all are listening to. Stop it. Mods, do your thing. Because I'm done with that conversation.
Timeouts have been enacted.
Thank you.
This is a girl's voice, right? Saying, poor Kaylee.
And it's kind of a whisper,
there are a couple
too.
of scenarios that could be, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, well, it's
what'd you just
it's
say?
actually a whisper. Well, I was going to say it was a whisper. It was like, she was like, poor Kaylee, kind of like that, like just a whisper. And it sort of makes you wonder, like, remember how she tried calling her in the morning and texting and they never got a response? So maybe after they saw what happened to Xana, she realized that the same thing likely happened to Kaylee. That's kind of how I picture
wondered
it.
that,
Or it's
Gray.
possible. Yeah, go ahead.
Or I know that Kaylee and Xana were close. And so if something had happened to Xana, perhaps this is a roommate saying, oh my God, poor Kaylee, when she finds out about this. That's another possibility because if you're just whispering poor Kaylee.
Y'all right here, I had to laugh because, Gray don't like being wrong. And he
hell
don't.
no. Oh, hell no.
He don't like, Ashley coming at him with an alternate.
She'd be blocked in his chat.
He is trying right now, okay?
Kaylee, I think he would be saying more to the 911 operator saying, and there are other potential victims here, not just my roommate is unconscious, one person.
Yeah, that makes sense. She could be referring to it like that, or it seems like at some point maybe they went around looking around, but never wanted to actually go into rooms to verify it. Like I just picture these two being so scared, and once you verify the reality of the situation, that's when you're truly horrified. So they sort of avoided that as long as they could, and then when the friends came over, I think they took Bethany's phone, called 911, and then that's when they got on the call, and then had to actually go to Xana's room at some point. So
yeah, and well, let's talk about that, because this house, I've mentioned this before on this program, prior to these girls moving in, this was a separate rooming house. So people rented rooms and they used the shared kitchen, living room, etc. But they had locks on all of these rooms. And I think it was Kaylee's dad who said he'd either been there a few weeks prior to them moving in, or Xana's dad had been there prior to moving in and changing the locks. So we know there were locks. We just don't know whether the doors were locked. Maybe Kaylee's room was locked upstairs, if the killer went out and closed it behind him or her, and if Xana's room was closed and locked. We don't know that, but it would stand to reason that this, and you tell me because you've heard the whole call. Does this sound like the phone call from 20-somethings who have seen a virtual bloodbath?
It sounds like they weren't aware until the guy goes to the room. I don't know if the name Evan or whatever it was on there. He goes to the room and he looks, and you can hear him. That's when he's like, "Get out, let's get out." And I think you hear him breathing really hard. It might be him breathing hard and Dylan combined. But I mean, I think the look on his face is why Dylan made that comment about, I think she said, "What's wrong?" That you would be saying that to somebody who has a face of horror. And I think that's where that came from. And I mean, just listening to it is I don't think anybody really knew for certain what was going on until they made the 911 call and then went to the room itself and looked in and tried to wake her up.
Gray, can I ask you this as well? There's a lot of confusion with this dispatcher, and the dispatcher says a couple of times, "Stop passing the phone around. I need to keep one person on and get a clear story." And after your report, having heard the footsteps going down the stairs, get out, let's get out, it made me wonder if some of the boys had witnessed something terrible, wanted everyone out of the house because it looked like maybe a killer was still in the house, as awful as that scene could be, and did not want to let on to Bethany and Dylan just how horrible it really was. And thus, they were quite reticent on the phone when they got on with the 911 operator and wanted to hand it back to Dylan.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because it seems like at one point you can hear one of them say, "Oh my God," and then something. It's really quiet though, so I don't really have it in the notes, but I definitely can hear "Oh my God," and then the name Xana, trying to wake Xana up twice, and then somebody I think says the word "dead" in there. And so I don't know if, like, when Dylan heard that, she just, wants to say, "Oh, she's still not, she's unconscious still," because doesn't want to accept that. I mean, it's just really brutal, even though, it's only a 4-minute call and you just hear different things. But, the portion where the male goes to the room and looks in, and you can tell that he's looking in, and Dylan's likely back by the stairs or something. And then he comes back and she's like, "Oh my God, what's wrong?" And then they go down the stairs, and that's when you hear the breathing deeply, and that's, and her demeanor gets even more freaked out at that point.
So, and I at the end of the transcript, I don't know how much time has passed between Dylan saying to the 911 operator, "The police are here," and the next few lines down, it says, "13, I think we have a homicide." And I wonder, again, without knowing how much time passed between that, I wondered if the boys who'd made this horrifying discovery and were trying to shield the girls from it maybe came over to the responding police officers and told them quietly, so that you then see the officer, first responder at the bottom there, 13, I think we have a homicide. I thought that was a possibility. Do you have any way of knowing, from what you've heard, how long it takes from Dylan saying, "Okay, thank you, bye," to that last line, "I think we have a homicide"?
Yeah, I don't think it's too long. I mean, it was within a minute, because I think the EMS show up, and because the operator's asking for if they have a defibrillator on scene, and Dylan, first he didn't know what she said, and then she goes, "No, we don't have one of those." And then almost right after that, an EMS person shows up, and she says to him, "Hey, do you have a defibrillator?" But just like one comment before, I think that person already said, she's like, it was the defibrillator was the moment where there was actually somebody there and had a defibrillator. And then right after that is when we're aware that she's likely not alive at that point. I can't remember the exact audio.
And at this point, they are still,
he said unconscious. He said unconscious. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it said unconscious and not breathing. The EMS said she's unconscious and not breathing. So that's really, at that point, a bad situation.
And I keep coming back to the conversation on the 911 call being about one person, and that is Xana. If anyone had opened that door, they would have seen more than one person and a hell of a scene. Dana's own father said she fought back. She had defensive wounds. There was one report that Dylan was found on the floor, maybe even closer to the door. So had they opened that door, they would have known it was far more than just one. One more question to you. From what you have heard from top to bottom in that 4-minute call.
Analyzing fake audio. Have you heard it's AI? Welcome in, Katharina. It's not an AI and it's not fake.
Do you think it is possible these are the voices of roommates who are fearing the worst of what a roommate might fear? Maybe there was an OD last night. Maybe that man I saw in the house was the drug dealer and my roommate has OD'd. And that might produce the same terrified voice, meaning they don't even know the half of it, even with this horrifying phone call.
Yeah, I don't think they knew. I mean, we know that Dylan left the room 3 different times, right? Like to check because there was loud noises and so forth. And then she only really saw an individual regarding it when, Koberger, or, the person inside the house, I guess, with the bushy eyebrows that walks by. And, I guess we heard in court recently that maybe she saw somebody coming down the stairs, but that didn't make sense because that person was found in a room deceased. But yeah, I mean, I could, who knows what was going through their minds. My thing is, it's just that house has a lot of parties in it. I bet if you went around there with a black light, there'd be little splotches of blood all over that house. And a lot of people are, making big deals about DNA being on different rails and so forth. But to me, this is just one of those things where they didn't want to verify the fears that they had. As a matter of fact, in the documents, Dylan runs downstairs to go into Bethany's room and just sort of wait out the night, because they were both freaked out. And I don't think either one of them
I think she stayed. Yeah. That's the thing. She actually only peeked out of her room. She never came out of her room. And they were texting back and forth, Dylan and Bethany down on the basement level floor where her room was. And Bethany suggested, come down here and run. But, from all accounts, Dylan never did that. She just kept inside her room, went to bed. Again, you put yourself back in that night when there's no quadruple murder reporting. The worst you're thinking is that some guy was just walking through my house. I wonder what that was about. The worst you might think is it's a drug dealer or it's a break-and-enter, but you're not thinking there's a homicidal maniac that's just killed 4 of my friends. Gray, excellent reporting. Really appreciate you sharing this with us, and appreciate you sharing that clip as well. We'll continue to watch your reporting. Thank you.
Well, they only put a small section of it in there. Katharina, where are you seeing it's been analyzed as fake by many software? Because I'm on Twitter a lot, YouTube a lot, and I've heard chatter that people think it's an AI, but why would people think that? It was released in a FOIA request, and you can bet the media is clamoring to get their hands on that today, the whole thing. They won't sit on it and just tell you what they heard on it. They're going to play it for you.
I heard News Nation verified that it was real for what
that's worth. She says that at the beginning of this show that they verified, and the way to verify that is through the proper channels with the courts. I have the name of the file, the numbers, all of that. You can easily do the FOIA request, and these requests were put in before, but they wouldn't release anything because of the gag order. I know Plunder has had requests in. On her video, she talks about it too. So if they're giving it out now, she's going to have it by the end of the day. I'll be surprised if she doesn't. I'll be shocked if mainstream media doesn't. Court TV, you can bet, is trying to get their hands on that full audio. If they have to go to the courthouse in person and pick it up, send somebody down there in that area, right? So it's going to get released. So for people to assume it's fake is weird to me. I don't know what about it would be fake. Is it help Brian Koberger? Is it hurting Brian Koberger? Which way are we, what are their thoughts on it if they're saying it's fake? Why would they say that? Is it because they think it doesn't help Koberger? So therefore it's got to be fake, or is it the other way around? I don't know anymore. We all get leery about, because I'm leery about fake stuff. I don't take everything I see for granted as the real thing. Trust me, I've been sent pictures. I get sent stuff all the time. I don't put it out there. I can't verify any of it. I don't know where the hell half of it came from. Where did they even get it? And when they don't want to answer me, then that's a big red flag to me. But I don't know. You guys will hear it eventually. If it doesn't come out before trial, which will surprise me, you'll hear it at trial and you'll see it's not fake anymore, right?
If News Nation pulled this video, how are you playing it? Like, where'd you get this video from?
What?
Oh, Katarina
What
said
she
even News Nation pulled this video.
No, they didn't, because I just got it this morning.
That's what I mean. Like, what?
It aired last night, and I didn't see it until about 5 o'clock this morning, my time. And as far as I know, it's still up. Nancy Grace is the one who will take stuff down, not Ashley. It's very, very rare. But Nancy Grace will do it in a heartbeat. She'll throw something out there for 5 or 10 minutes. Boom, next thing it's gone. If you don't believe me, go do your research.
Yeah. Also, I mean, think about this. We're what, 5 months away from this trial, right?
Hmm.
If this is fake, that's an awfully big risk for these creators to take, right? Just for a few clicks and views 5 months before the trial. Because we're going to
Right?
hear the real call, the whole call,
That's what I'm saying.
in
The whole
trial in
call,
5 months.
exactly. The whole call is going to get released. I'll be shocked if it doesn't come down in the Idaho docket files that we can download it ourselves. I've been checking; it's not there yet. Um,
It'll be
for
out by the weekend. I guarantee you.
oh, it will be. We know it will be because we've followed this case for so long that it will be shocking that if it's not. I said last night that it was a matter of time before mainstream media got their hands on it, and they won't sit back and tell you what they heard on it unless it was so horrible with people being attacked. You know what I mean? Like an attack scene happening, and then they usually bleep and blur things, but they still show it. Um, they're not willing to sit on it like that. And in my thumbnail, I called them the gatekeepers, and I don't. Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel like it is what it is. I get why they probably don't want to release the whole thing yet. I kind of don't, because you would think they would want to because of what it would do for them, but they base it on a sensitivity thing, right, for the victims, and I understand that, but it's going to come out regardless. So there's not a whole lot we can do to control what others do with the material once it's released, but we can certainly call them out and tell them they're full of shit, and we can tell them to stop it. That's not going to make a difference, but hopefully when people see that some of these creators that they're following blindly have been lying to them for 2 straight years, maybe they'll see a red flag and finally wake up and then ask, what the hell was wrong with me for even falling for it? Okay, well, Catherine, you can say they pulled it, hun, but I'm telling you, I got it, so I don't, it's still there. Oh, I got another device open. I'll go research it. I'll go look for it again right now, outside of what I'm playing. And I'll tell you if it's been pulled or not. I mean, it doesn't really make a difference to me, but I'm just saying, I think that's crazy. Because as far as I could tell, it wasn't pulled this morning, like I said. So I don't know. I mean, if you want to believe that it's not real, then I guess that's your prerogative to do so, Personal video. That Yes, I know where it come from. I saved it from her Banfield. I already know. Anyway, we just played it. You're stating a fact. Okay, if you think it was pulled, then it was pulled. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about it. But I don't think it's fake. And I don't think a lot of people viewing think it's fake. So people get a lot of PTSD from the fake stuff being out there. But they're ignoring the real stuff while calling the fake stuff the real stuff. Exactly. The content of the call. My thing's not wanting to work right. There we go. is the content of the call, and people are, to take away. And the differences. And I got Daniel's video queued up, so I got him on fast talking too, because he talks, so slow. But for us to kind of review what he said in comparison to what was actually in the document, because we heard Ashley explain the same thing that Daniel said, that it didn't match the document 100%. There seemed to be different, we came to the conclusion there were things left out of it from the document standpoint.
Oh,
But yeah, they kind of explained how that went down. And so we know we didn't get to hear the full call in the transcript. But I want to go back to the beginning of this, though, because we're going to play what we could hear that he did release to her. I don't know why he didn't give them
report of a slaughter
Well-
at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say to answer young black economist. Well, how did he only get he got the full clip? He only was allowed to play the first few minutes of it, but he played it because people were saying it was AI created, and he's trying to debunk that, saying it's real. There's actual emotion. How do you call this fake?
Yeah, the entire clip is about 4 minutes long, 4 minutes, 23 seconds, something to that effect. Drunk Turkey has the audio, has not released it. And Gray Hughes has the full 4 minutes as well, has not released it. Why he only released a portion to them, I don't know. Maybe it was to prove it's not AI, but that's not going to prove anything to the people who believe it is, right?
He said he only got permission to release a few seconds of it. So
I don't know
from
who's
who,
giving
I'm not.
I
don't know.
where are y'all I need to make a phone call down to
That
the
I
phone.
don't know.
No, I will pick up my phone and I will call Latah County and I will ask them. Y'all know that's been released in FOIA requests. Are y'all requesting people not play it? You don't give it out in a FOIA request and then say don't play it. Or only
Yeah,
play
it's actually not Latah County. It's Whitcomb.
So yeah, you had to go through them to get it.
Yep.
Oh, did you see what I sent you this morning, by the way? In the DM with those numbers, there's some. Yeah, take a look at that in a minute when you get a chance. I don't know if you
Okay.
needed that information or not. But anyway, yeah. So people, we're not here to tell you what to do. God knows that. So if y'all want to believe it's fake, I guess I can't do nothing to change your minds about it. But I choose to believe it is not fake, and I think a majority of us know it's not fake. I'm watching, looking at chat. I'm sorry, getting caught up. Yeah, it is, and then they're making up stuff and then admitting it on the damn YouTube and laughing about it. I'm about to show y'all. Like, I can't. And these are the people who want to come in here and start trouble, telling us we're stupid and we can't see the big picture, or over there listening to the people I'm about to show you. First, I want to play this again.
Idaho. It came in the form of a 911 call from the surviving housemates, Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, when they realized that their friends and fellow students hadn't just overslept or hadn't just slept somewhere else. Exactly how they realized this and what exactly they knew when they called the police, that part is still not completely clear. But a true crime YouTuber named Gray Hughes, who has heard the audio of the entire 911 call, has released the first 30 seconds of that call. And we have independently
She
confirmed
stated it
that
as
the tape
fact.
is...
Do what?
She stated that as fact. Gray Hughes has heard the entire audio of the 911 call. She
Yeah.
stated that as fact. Is that
Yes.
verifiable fact?
I guess she's taking his word for it. He has the whole 4-minute clip, and so does Drunk Turkey. So I guess she's taking Gray's word for it, unless she heard it herself, and she's only putting out that 30 seconds of it, or whatever it is. I can't tell you why they're all doing why they're doing it the way they're doing it. It's aggravating to me as well. But they do have the legit 4-minute call. I was looking at it. Okay, I'm gonna let it play. Ah, crap. Shit. Every time I stop it and try to restart, Same thing.
Sorry, didn't mean to mess up your
It's like you messed up my flow. Messed up my
right.
flow. Now I
I'm
gotta
so
do it
sorry.
over again. Hold on, let me guys give me a second.
That's not the first time I've been accused of that.
So, this is why I don't have men in my life. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself, Joe Schmo.
I had to mute out. I was laughing so hard.
I'm too much of a smartass for a man.
And most men are too much of a dumbass for you. Guaranteed.
Straight. Sorry, I'm not sharing the damn screen with y'all. I got sidetracked again looking at chat. So, is Katharina Dolphin? Is she saying that Ada County confirmed it in writing?
Yes, already.
Oh,
Yes, that's what she
okay,
said.
where have you seen that, hun? Because I'm telling you, if that's true, there's a handful of creators that would absolutely post that on today's breaking news.
I saw something from Mercy. I think I'll have to go before I say anything. I'll go look for it. Never mind.
On her tweets.
Yeah.
Oh,
me go
okay.
look.
Ada County doesn't have anything to do with the 911 calls, and Latah County doesn't even. And Moscow is in Latah County, and I have an email from the Latah County Sheriff that says we don't handle 911 calls. You have to contact Whitcomb. So I don't know why people are talking about Ada County, and the 911 call. Ada doesn't have anything to do with it at all.
And her tweet, Firefly, says, when you obtain an audio recording of a 911 call via a Public Records Act request, you don't need permission to play it.
Oh, it must have been somebody else. Yeah. I don't know who. I have to figure out where I saw something.
That's exactly what I said. She said someone just claimed it was played on News Nation. And then Mercy said Hughes allegedly claimed he had permission to post a snippet, hence
Right.
my post. Yeah, see, I don't believe that that's true either. I mean, I don't believe it. You don't need permission once they give it out in a FOIA request.
Right. Permission from who? Permission
Right.
from whom?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. They released it to you, so you shouldn't need permission.
Yeah, they're not going to restrict your use of it, or they would redact it heavily if they wanted that to be the case, right? But I'd still like to see where the proof is. You can email me that proof if you got it.
If I find it, I'll find something.
No. I'm talking about this Ada County Court.
Oh, yeah.
saltysleuth@gmail.com. Please email me that if you have it. I would love to see it.
Like they said, it's not even property of Ida County or whatever county.
And
Jesus,
12 gauge is
young
telling you
black
to check your email, Salty.
Okay, I just seen that. Thank you, Dolphin. Young Black Economist, what are you doing over there? Be careful now. Thank you.
Don't talk about bath salts in Florida. Somebody's faces.
You'll eat faces and stuff. I know. That was a thing here for a while. That we had a guy, one of the Florida men, back when we still had Florida man issues, got high on that stuff and bit somebody's face off. You remember that story, huh, Joe? That was crazy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Insane. Oh yeah, I've seen body cam.
I didn't even know what bath salts was for the longest time. One of my cousins had to tell me. I was like, "What the hell are people doing with some bath salts?" You know, I'm like, "What the heck is going on here?" Ugh.
But that doesn't even make sense to say the audio of the call is sealed and not being released by the court. They just released the transcripts, so why would it? It's not sealed anymore.
Yeah, they released. We have the document. We have read the document here.
So why would you seal the audio? Like, I mean, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, like I said, if you got the proof that Ada County came out and with a statement that said that, then the statement should be out there somewhere. Send it to me in an email. I'd appreciate it because I like to get the truth out there
Yep.
and not.
Salty, have you come up with a make it make sense emoji yet? Mims, make it make sense.
No, I haven't. We
That's
need
next.
those.
Yeah.
I almost don't like that phrase because for a year and a half I had to hear it on other channel. Every time a document was read or a word that was read or a phrase that they didn't understand, it was make it make sense. And I'm like, oh my God, hold on, let me go make it make sense for you. There's only a few things that don't make sense to me. And if it doesn't make sense, I'm going to try to figure out why. Make
Right.
it make sense. I'm going to go Google. I'll be up all, man, I'm a Gemini. I'm an information overload. Don't get me started because I'll go down 50 rabbit holes. One article will lead to another, to another, to another. And then before I know it, hours have passed. I'm like, you know, it's a fake. Came from a Facebook group. What is a fake? The audio call? Let me see what you just sent me here. Okay, so what I was just gotten an email from 12 Gauge. It says it's from a Reddit group. I'm in Reddit groups, so I know which one to
Too,
trust.
yeah.
Don't. There's some out there you cannot trust.
Yep.
Let me just put that out there. Let me look at the name of this group. Oh, I know this group well. Hi. Y'all, Salty's a little bit of everywhere. I have to be. I can't be going blind in the dark and shit. All right. Hi there. The audio of the call is sealed and has not been released by the court. Yes, it has. In a
I mean,
transcript.
that's what I saw. That must be the same thing I saw on Reddit then. Okay.
I've heard that some people are claiming to have copy of the call, but I don't know how they have acquired it when it comes sealed. Okay, well, they can believe what they want. I don't know what to tell them. I don't think. What do y'all think that Gray Hughes and Drunk Turkey got in cahoots together and said, "Hey, let's make up a fake AI call and then tell everybody what it says without releasing it. Let's do that for a couple of days and then release our fake call together." I mean, what they got up and did that together. Now, trust me, there are creators that will work behind the scenes and do just that same bullshit. They will conjure up stuff behind the scenes and then come out. I watched two people run a live stream, panel a guest that they knew was a liar but didn't tell their community, wanted to see the community's reaction first. Then they caught hell once everybody realized y'all knew that person was lying to us. Now, what kind of shit is that to do to your community? You know, they literally sat around and conjured up stuff together to go out publicly with on their YouTube channels about Idaho 4. And none of it pertained to Koberger could possibly be the guy. So anything that ever came out, what little bit trickled out in the defense filings before the gag order thing was changed, people ran with every damn thing they said. You know,
Hey, how do we know that? I'm sorry, but that message on Reddit is probably fake. I mean, that's so easy to say.
you can't trust that Reddit shit.
No.
You can't. Anything. I'm on Reddit. I do go and check a lot of things out on Reddit, but I take them all with a grain of salt, and then I go do further research on what I just read in Reddit, right? Because in the beginning, a lot of the horrible things being said about these victims started on Reddit. You know, it started in, it tried to start in the Facebook groups.
And the 4chan and everything, because they love the 4chan in
Posts
there.
were out there with all this stuff. And like I stated yesterday, like with Mr. J. Ombre and all this fabulous work he's done to show everybody the real killers and expose the entire operation. Has he emailed all that to the defense? Because what good's it going to do the YouTube streets to know this information? What good's it going to do? Unless you go tell the proper authorities who might actually need the information and can investigate it and vet it. And we haven't seen Ann one time talk about alternate suspects, the drug dealers in town, the victims' parents being involved with the drug dealing that was going down into town, all that stuff. I've seen all of Ombre's work. I saw how hard he tried to get there a couple times, and I went right down that road with him, but he couldn't get there.
I have never seen this acronym that Pokemon posted. That's really cool.
What?
That I've never seen that. Have you seen that? CARE,
Oh,
center the victims, avoid harmful speculation, research facts responsibly, and engage with empathy.
exactly. Thank you, Pokemon, because that's perfect. That's perfect. Um, there was so many. Like I said, every single college kid in that town, and especially every single one at the grub truck, was completely doxxed for no reason, none whatsoever. And there's going to be so many people. There already are people out there starting on Dylan, and Bethany. Um, and like I said, a lot of us had the same concerns in the beginning. Why this 8-hour gap? Why this? Why that? Why this? Why that? Why is this frozen shock phase statement being? Why did she originally go to sleep in her room? Where'd she end up? And those questions are being answered. But even before they got answered, a lot of us had gotten to where we are already, just by fairly evaluating what we've seen for the past 2.5 years, especially where these surviving roommates were concerned. We've took ourselves and we put ourselves in their shoes. We've put ourselves as if, okay, they were involved. How would this have went down? Now people want to still say they were involved. Well, I got one question for you. Did Dylan know Koberger? Because the defense is not denying that's his DNA on that sheath. Um, you know, so if we're going to go with the roommates were involved somehow, then I'm just going to guess Dylan probably knew old Koberger somehow, some way. But see, that's a rumor. That's a bullshit theory made up that I just made up. But people they're not going to want to go with that theory. You know why? It goes against the narrative that Koberger was even involved at that point. But if you want to go that route, you could easily go that route. She's a mean girl. Maybe she had it in for her roommates. Da, 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 da. She met this guy. He knew things. He wanted to impress her. He offered to help her. Boom, there you go. But no, we can't run with that sort of theory because that would imply that Koberger was involved. Weirdos. I'm reading comments in chat. I like to observe. I don't want to get involved. Right? I don't want to contact people involved. I don't have a desire to. And that changes the dynamic when creators get involved with the parents. I think it changes the dynamic, and then they want to claim they have sources, right? And the parents don't know a whole lot. Steve just come out and told us that the other day. They didn't even know the transcript was dropping. There's things that go on that they don't know about. So your source is limited information at best. Yeah, truth. I saw that. I know all about the cannibalism guy.
That's crazy.
That's what you get for letting people up on an open panel and you don't know who they are and you don't vet what they're going to say. And then you want to sit there and say, well, I didn't hear him say it. Well,
He never learns. He will never learn.
Sorry, they were on your panel and you weren't listening. Excuse me. You listen. You listen, Linda. Oh, good Lord, Texas Ranger. I see that Sam. Yeah, I've made some videos. I've done some shit. All right, let me get back over here to this playlist. So, Dolphin, do you have any? I got Daniel's live, and I got it on fast speed. So we noticed some things that he said, right? Because I don't think Greg gave too many details.
No, Daniel did a better job. Yeah, he did a better job.
Much better job.
Yeah, there were some things that Dolphin caught in there, and that as compared to what the transcript was, right? And we do know that there are some discrepancies. It doesn't mean that they're lying. It just means the transcript wasn't 100% accurate. and like we said, we suspected already some parts were missing. What was one of your biggest takeaways from the drunk turkey's version of what he heard?
Oh, in Drunk Turkey, you mean the first thing that he did?
Yeah, when he came out and explained what he heard in the call.
Oh gosh. Sorry, actually, if you had the transcript up, that would
Well, the
jog my memory.
biggest thing
Firefly, do you remember?
the biggest thing to me, and even Gray mentioned it, but it sounds like they didn't actually discover the bodies
Oh, until
until
during the call.
midway during the call.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
Like about
thing.
two something minutes in.
That
Yeah,
was the
that's
big
Four
thing to
minutes and
me.
23 seconds. Oh, and also that the door was not open. Xana's room. Because Drunk Turkey said that Hunter J said, Xana, Ethan, it's me, I'm here, or something to that effect.
Hmm.
And he
Because
wouldn't have been saying that in an open doorway.
like midway through, Daniel says he hears a screech and he can't tell if it's the door being pushed open. You know how if it's a stuck, it might screech, or if it was him screaming because he saw what he saw. And then he's sort of panicked and said, "Larry, everybody get out." I might have the timing of that incorrect, but
Yeah, because actually so right, that's what kind of we got from Daniels, but then now seeing Gray's transcript with more details. Gray actually had a different way of explaining the part where there was a lot of heavy breathing, like 20
mhm,
something seconds of heavy breathing, because Gray said he heard footsteps like coming down the stairs.
yeah.
And then Dylan said, poor Kaylee. So last night when we saw that on Gray's show, um, we were thinking, I think he went upstairs. So I
third
think
floor.
he
Yeah.
saw right to the third floor. I think he saw what was going on or what had happened in Xana's room. And then he just like didn't say anything, ran upstairs really quickly, and then came back down. And because when somewhere in the middle of that 20 something seconds, she asked what's wrong again, right? And he's like, get out, let's get out. And oh, and she said, poor Kaylee before that. And
Mhm.
he's like, get out, let's get out. So we think that he went upstairs. And that's how the door on the third floor got opened.
Okay, so let me ask you this. When I didn't review what Gray did last night,
Hmm.
um, was there better explanations in there than there were in what Daniel said?
About that section, yes, with the 20 something seconds of heavy breathing, because Gray said that he heard running down the stairs. And then he's saying that the male voice got, basically what he says is that the male voice was right there at Dylan, and at everybody else saying, get out, get out, get out. So if he ran down some stairs, he didn't run from the second floor down to the first floor and end up right there in Dylan's face saying it. He ran from the third floor down to the second floor and would have been in Dylan's face telling everybody to get out of the house, you know? So Gray did have some slightly
Well,
different
what if the
details.
girls were still standing right around the front door?
Yeah,
I don't,
possible.
so we
No,
don't
because
know.
you could hear what he was saying on the call.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and remember, they said, let's go, come on, let's go, I'll go with you,
Yeah,
or
they had to
whatever.
go up and
They
check.
all went back in the house. So we're imagining that they're standing in the living room or whatever, or
Like
maybe
by the
like further
stairs or
down the
whatever.
hall.
Yeah.
Right. And that Hunter J went over to the door, says, Xana, Ethan, it's me, through the door, because why else would you stand there at an open door and say that?
Right.
It's kind
Yeah.
of like, hey, I'm going to come in the room, guys, or whatever. Like, you would let somebody know before you just come in their bedroom, right? So, and I think that's when he was trying to get the door open because you still don't have that total frantic panic yet. It's still relatively calm. The tone of the call changed, and that's how I agree with Drunk Turkey because Drunk Turkey said, um, you know, he feels like the bodies were discovered on the call. Yes, I even think way back to when we just had the transcripts that you can tell that the bodies were discovered during the call because
Hmm.
even when you see the writing, the tone of the call changes as it goes along.
Yeah. And so that was my biggest takeaway from the Drunk Turkeys episode as well, was it appeared they didn't actually discover the bodies until they were already in the middle of the 911 call. And so that's what we were talking about yesterday afternoon, Dolphin, Firefly, and I. I wondered. So I guess that they woke up and they can't reach them. And, Xana's door's shut, whatever, and she ends up calling. But we know she texted her dad. Did he say, "Honey, you might need to get somebody over there to check things out"? Is that when she called Hunter, over? And it only appears that there was Dylan, Bethany, Hunter, and Emily, right? And not like a bunch of people, as the YouTube streets kept trying to say there were a bunch of people. It was just the four of them. And now there's more kids than that on the sidewalk over there in that one photo we see, but that doesn't mean they were all there immediately when 911 was being called and the house being checked. They probably came out a few minutes later or whatever. There's maybe 6 kids sitting over there, but it only sounds like it was the 4 of them. And it does. So I don't know what prompted them to go out the front doors and start placing the 911 call, unless, there's really something wrong. We can't wake her up or get into the door. And like you said, the doors do appear to be shut. And going back to Drunk Turkey, when Christy Gonzalez was on there, she said the same thing, right? The door was shut and they had to open it. So if he calls out, "Ethan, Xana, it's me,"
and they didn't respond, that's the non-responsive.
And they didn't respond. And by the time he opens that door, and we'd all heard a long time ago that he said, "Everybody out," and now we're hearing that again. So that is like a confirmed part of what we thought we knew, but didn't know for sure. So it did sound like that the bodies weren't discovered actually until the middle of that call, around 2 minutes in or so. But I do have Drunk Turkeys pulled up, and I want to make sure I got it on fast speed because the dude talks so slow.
Yeah.
If it's too fast, we'll slow it down, because I will be stopping and we'll comment on things as they happen. So let me get the screen up. I'm glad I looked up. I'm like, oh, the screen's not up. Okay. If someone wants to drop Drunk Turkey's link in the chat. I got a love-hate with Daniel. I don't hate him, but I got some issues here and there. He knows about them, so it's all good. Don't strike me, Daniel. Educational purposes. I won't make a video this time, I promise.
And who speak with the 911 dispatcher. I don't hear much of any of the Q stuff. Q is dispatch, police, first responders, etc. A lot of that stuff doesn't come out. There is some stuff that isn't in there at all. And we also do have some stuff that's kind of out of order, in my opinion. So it's not a real true representation of what the 911 call is. But before we start, I want to say thank you to Archive Gig for your $4.99 super chat. Thanks Daniel for all your efforts and hard work. I appreciate that. And thank you, Heather, for being the newest member. Seem familiar. I appreciate it. All right, guys, without further ado, let's break it down. Let's get into it. First, I want to say that it starts off with it sounds like a recording saying 911 emergency. What is your emergency here? And then you hear Bethany come on, and she says, "Hi, something is happening. Something happened in our house. We don't know what we have." And there's a little bit more of what she's saying, but the dispatcher just brutally interrupts her and just says, "What's the address of the emergency?" And it sounds rude, but it's because they're trying to get people out there as fast as possible. So we'll take that with a grain of salt. It does sound rude when this audio does get released and you hear it. It's going to sound rude. But what you hear right away in Bethany's voice is panic. I mean, she sounds like she's shaking on the phone. Her tone of voice is extremely, extremely high pitched. It's just, what's the address of your emergency? And she says 111 or 1122, start coughing. And it says, no, don't. But what she's really saying is, no, don't, please, no. And it's like, it's fading off into the background when she says this. And she says, no, don't, please, no. And I don't know if it says don't or God, but one of those two out into the air. No, don't, please, no, don't, no, God, or no, don't. And then you hear the dispatcher say, what is the rest of the address? And at that point, it captures Bethany's attention again. And she's like, King Road. And she actually says, I think, 1122 King Road. And the dispatcher asks, is this a house or an apartment? She goes, it's a house. And then, can you repeat the address to make sure I have it right, is what the dispatcher says. And you can kind of hear a little bit of something going on there. And you hear you hear somebody say, I'll talk or something of that nature. Well, here it goes. She goes, I'll talk to you guys. And this is actually the neighbor. And her tone is probably the most calmest that you'll be able to hear on this phone call. It's almost to the point where she's kind of in denial. She doesn't really believe what is going on to a certain extent, because she's kind of like, we live to the right next to him. And, the dispatcher asked her, I need you to repeat the address. And she said the address, and she tells her the address of 1122 King Road. Dispatcher asks what number you're calling from. I don't hear her say, what's your number? I don't know if that's edited out. I don't hear her say, what's the rest either. It is a brief pause in this moment because they are redacting what I believe Bethany is saying, which is her phone number. At one moment, it unredacts and part of the phone number comes out. Then the dispatcher asks what's going on, and the neighbor says, one of our roommates who's passed out, and she was drunk last night and she's not waking up. And you can hear Bethany in the background go, no, we saw a man. And it's hard to hear what she say, but it's almost like I mentioned before, it's like the neighbor was kind of in denial. They sound like they're outside. They do not sound like they're inside of the house at all. All of them sound like they're outside. And then you hear the dispatcher say, okay. And then the neighbor comes back and says, they saw a man in their house last night. Yeah. And then you hear, hi, I can talk.
So from what we've put together, Dolphin and I feel like this call originated from outside the house. Like they were already outside the house when they called. But when they called 911, yeah.
Talk to them. Or, hi, this is Dylan. I apologize. I can talk to him. It's, hi, this is Dylan. And at the same time she's saying, hi, this is Dylan, the dispatcher is saying, are you with the patient? And she says, okay, I need someone to keep the phone and stop passing it around. And this is where Dylan is.
V, we've had a whole ass discussion about that already. Two people have received it in a FOIA request. You can bet by the end of the day, the mainstream media will probably have the full video. I'm not, here to argue anymore if it's fake or not. Everybody make up their own minds, but it has not been proven to be fake.
Speaking at this point, and she goes, can I just tell you what happened pretty much? And the dispatcher stops her from right there. And she goes, I really don't, she goes, what's going on? Is someone passed out right now? And then Dylan goes in to say, I really don't know, but pretty much at 4 a.m. there was a man, and this is where the dispatcher again just kind of interrupts her. She's like, okay, I need to know what's going on right now. If someone is passed out, can you find that out? Now you can kind of tell in the dispatcher's voice, you're going to hear this. There's a little bit of frustration going on. She's been passed around a few times. A couple of people have been telling her not a lot of information for her to get somebody out there or get the right people. So she is a little bit frustrated when you hear this. But why is the dispatcher cutting her off? The dispatcher is cutting her off because they need to know if they're going to send an ambulance, police, homicide, like what's going on, what is happening. By this point, the dispatcher should probably have started to send those out regardless. But, she's trying to get an idea of what the scene is so that she can relay this information there. And so we'll continue. Let's see. And I'm not sure, if it says we saw, I just know it says something about a man. It's very difficult to hear. It sounds like it's a little bit further away. But Dylan is saying that I wouldn't take every word as like wait and go like, oh, we, I, they, stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff going on that they're a lot confused right now. They don't even know what's going on. I will tell you right now, based on what I heard, they hadn't even found the bodies yet. They hadn't even seen them yet. They had no idea what's going on at this point. All right. And so Dylan is crying. And then the dispatcher goes, what is currently going on? Is someone passed out? And Dylan goes, I don't know, but pretty sure, but pretty much at 4 a.m. a man. And then dispatcher stopped her and said, okay, I need to know what's going on right now. If someone's passed out, can you find that out? Dylan tells Bethany, yeah, I'll come on, let's go. We got to check it out. And she's telling this to Bethany. And you can say, she even says, Bethany, we have to do this. We have to go inside. Is she passed out? She's passed out. What's wrong? And what that is at this point, you start hearing them go into the house, right? And you hear.
Okay, at that point, you start to hear them go in the house. V, we've seen the Reddit post, and I'm here to tell you right now, I'm looking right at it on Ashley Banfield's channel. That video is still up from 11 hours ago. So it has not been taken down. I don't know where y'all are hearing that from. Oh, Lord.
You hear her kind of yell out at this point, like, is she passed out? And a female voice responds. Now, the female voice, I'm assuming, is the neighbor, right? Because Dylan and Bethany are outside. Hunter has gone inside. And the girl that was on the phone initially, that I suspect is Hunter's girlfriend at the time. So I believe she went inside at that time. And she responds with something about in a moment, any minute, give me a minute, something to that nature. It's hard to hear. And you can hear the male voice go, hey, Xana, hey, Ethan, it's me. Right? You can hear him yelling that out from the background. So at this point, they don't have visual of what's going on. I don't know if they're downstairs and they're yelling that upstairs, because obviously we can't see anything. I don't know if they're upstairs and Ethan and Xana are behind a door, but you can hear Hunter yell out, "Hey, Xana, hey, Ethan," or "Hey, Xana, Ethan, it's me." And there's a point where Dylan's voice begins to get very anxious, and she says something to the
So, like you were saying, Dolphin, if there had been a door open, why would he be calling out, "Hey, Xana, hey, Ethan, it's me"?
Exactly.
Unless he came up the stairs and was yelling it as he was going towards their room. But I still think that door was
That's
shut.
long distance still.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think the door was shut as well.
effect that she's passed out. What is wrong? Is she passed out? What is wrong? But her voice goes really high at that point. Um, and then Dylan says something's wrong. And then there's like a at 2:16 into the call, because throughout this entire time the dispatcher has been quiet. The dispatcher goes quiet at the moment when they tell her to go in, and that is at about a minute and 45 seconds until about when this comes back here. It says, "Okay, I'm getting help going that way." That's like at 2 minutes and like, I don't know, 20 seconds or something like that. And so it's a long brief time where the dispatcher's quiet, and Dylan and Bethany are walking into the house, and you can hear things in the background. Uh, at 2:09, it says she's not waking up. So that's where that is. At 2:09, that's where that is. She's not waking up, and that's why I put this line here. And I remember at it was 1:40.
Okay, so I got an email and it says it's from Jeff. When he clicked on the news story, I'm guessing in print, about the Banfield interview, that was gone. Okay, I don't know what else to tell y'all. If it's fake, then two people have gotten fake shit from FOIA requests from the places they put the FOIA request into. Unless you're just thinking they got in, behind the scenes with each other and made it all up. Y'all do you.
45 when they went into the house, and the call 1 minute 45. And it was 2:09 when she said she's not waking up. Then you can hear a male yell, "Xana," and then at 2:16 there's either a scream or a screech. I couldn't tell you. There's just a really loud noise. How long is the audio? About 4 minutes and 23 seconds. 4 minutes and 23 seconds. And so there's either a scream or a screech. I can't tell. I've listened to a lot of this back and forth, and I can't tell. At 2:16, right after that, Dylan says, "What is wrong?" And I think that's where this pops up here. Oh, right here, because it says unintelligible. It says multiple RPs are on the phone advising, saying the roommate on the scene is passed out and not waking up. And this is at that part where I'm saying, because you can hear people asking, "Is she passed out? Is she not waking up?" Now, there's only 4 people there. You have Bethany, you have Dylan, you have Hunter, and you have Hunter's girlfriend. I believe her name is Emily. And somebody saying, "Believe she got drunk last night," and a male being in the room with them. All that's put into this one little thing is actually multiple people saying certain things, and it's all over the timeline. It's not even at that point. All right, Dylan says, "Thank you," because this is when the dispatcher says, "Okay, one moment, I'm getting help started that way." That's when Dylan says, "Thank you." And then she says, "What is wrong?" And you can hear her shaking when she says this, "What's wrong?" And then it's followed by heavy breathing. From 2 minutes and 21 seconds into the call till about 2 minutes and 48 seconds. So over 20 seconds of just heavy breathing. And then you hear her say something like, "Poor Kaylee," something. I can't tell what it is. If I had to take a guess, I don't even want to take a guess because it's just speculative. The first part is definitely her saying, "Poor Kaylee." So let's figure this out. Is she looking upstairs into Kaylee's room? Probably not. She's not looking into Kaylee. Remember, she thought she heard Kaylee run down the stairs and with Murphy. Remember, that was a huge thing, right? And
Okay, if y'all go to your YouTube and you type in at Drop Dead Serious, you're going to pull up Ashley Banfield's YouTube channel and you're going to see the video posted right there, right now.
and she thought it was Kaylee who ran that way. And so what do we know? She's probably not looking in down the
Actually,
hallway.
hold
She's
on.
probably up on the
Who's at
staircase
Drop
somewhere.
Dead Serious?
And what she,
Ashley Banfield.
Ashley Gann.
That's the name of her channel?
Yep.
Oh. Oh, okay. But what Jeff is talking about is true,
The
though.
name of her channel is Ashley.
No, because I just looked it up. Like she said, it's there.
It's there. I mean, I'm not an idiot.
No. We're not saying you are. What I'm saying is what Jeff typed is true. If you Google Brian Koberger, News Nation 911
Yeah,
call, you come up to newsnation.com. It says
yeah,
Brian Koberger trial here, part of the frantic call. You get a 404 page not found error.
right. And I said that a minute ago. On
Okay.
the print that he sent me the email. So on the print version from the website, that apparently is gone. But when you go to Ashley's YouTube channel, the video's up. I saw the comment. Was I refreshing my stuff or whatever? I'm like, well, God, yeah, it's right there. I'm not making it up. It's right there on her YouTube channel. Ashley's channel just started recently. I saw her on Bob Mata when she announced the start of her channel. It is Ashley Banfield X Drop Dead Serious, and her handle is at Drop Dead Serious. Yes, 6.9 thousand subscribers.
I dropped the link in there, so you.
Thank you. There's the link, and y'all can go see it.
She's thinking that who's on the ground is Kaylee based on what she remembered that night and what she had heard. And so what that tells me is that obviously she was mistaken by who she heard and thought was Kaylee was actually in fact Xana, which is another indication to police when they say, remember in the PCA that who she thought was Kaylee, but they suspect to be Xana. That's going to be another reason why that you can kind of tell that, because at this point she's thinking the person that's on the floor there could be Kaylee. So just kind of just want to let you guys, give you guys that idea of where that's at. And then right after that, after she says that, you hear some shuffling and you hear, to me, what sounds like a door either moving, whether it's being forced open or being closed. And then right immediately after you hear, get out, get out, get out, get out. And so in my opinion, that is where they actually see the scene itself, is in that moment. The discovery of the bodies is captured on the 911 call. And it is sad. It is extremely sad. And so, it's just one of those things, I want to emphasize when you guys hear it, especially like the way she's breathing, you can tell it's real. You know what I mean? Can I play the audio? I don't know. I don't want to right now. I'm going to describe it. I'll let it go when I get word that I should, and I'll leave it at that. But I do have it ready. I have it enhanced. So that way, in fact, I actually messaged, Jeff is in the house. I messaged Jeff a little earlier. I asked him if he would enhance it for me. I ended up doing it on my own. But I asked Jeff earlier when I got it. We'll see if once it goes public, I might get you to do it.
Well, Jeff enhanced my bridge guy video for me. Thank you, Jeff. You missed out, drunk turkey.
Do it for me anyways. I'm pretty sure you can do it better than I can. I'm not the sound guy or anything like that. But yeah. All right, let's continue this. The next thing you hear at 2:52 is how old is she? And that's right here where we're at. See, like this, it's Evan. I think what that part right here is where let me highlight it real quick. Where it says, it's Evan. I think that's actually, because I highlighted it, blew it up. He says, Xana, Ethan, it's me, is what he's saying in that moment. And then, how old is she? Sorry, I got all this stuff written down. I got to change the page. Everything stays the same here up until the mail comes on. It says hello, and that's going to be what sounds like Hunter. And at 3 minutes and 29 seconds, she goes, hello. And then the dispatcher's like, stop passing the phone around, because I've talked to 4 different people. And he's like, sorry, they just gave me the phone. Like this dude just saw something horrific. I feel bad for him. And then they hand him the phone because he's the only one that has seen what's happened. He's the only one that has seen it. You know what I mean? And so, and what I've heard is this is going to become.
Can I ask y'all a question? And this is for my own benefit. Who's telling y'all that it's AI? Where are you hearing it from? Don't say you don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be a specific place that's coming from. And I'm just curious as to who it is and what their angle is with it. That's all. I know these streets too well.
Fully out there here. I don't know when. It's supposed to be public to everybody. I don't know how all that works.
Oh my God, V, honey, if you go to the direct website, it tells you that is not the enhanced Bridge Guy version anyway. That is the raw data extracted from Libby's phone. That is it. People who saw it in court saw both versions, the original and the enhanced. What we've got just released is not the enhanced version.
Works, but yeah, I just leave it at that. Once I know that it is for sure public, I'm not the only person that did this. I saw one of the creator just before I got on the show had talked about it too, and he didn't play the audio either. So leave that for that. So let's continue. And at the part where he goes, so the dispatcher's going to ask, is she breathing? And he says something, and then it's like this. it's distorted. That's all I can say. It doesn't sound like anything weird. It just sounds like a distortion happens. And then he says hello, and then she asks, is she breathing? And he says no. And then you can hear something in the background, and what it is he says, that's me. All right. And then he says, Bethany or Dylan, I need you to talk to them. I can't talk to them. I need you to talk to them. And so what that is the police department had arrived, and the officers asked who actually saw what was going on. And he said, that was me. Who went in the house? Who saw what happened? He said, that's me. And they probably told him, all right, we need to talk to you. He said, all right. And then he handed the phone over to Bethany and Dylan and says, I need you to talk to them, because they were going to interrogate him at that time. All the rest of the stuff, they asked about the defibrillator, that comes out. But like all this here about, Moscow engine 20 in route 13, we have a homicide, that doesn't come out. And the defibrillator does. They ask if they have one. They say no. Then you can hear her speaking to the officer, and she asks the officer if he has a defibrillator, and the officer says yes. She tells dispatch that she has one.
You just told us that it was enhanced video. We come and tell you that it's not, and Joe provides the link to show you where the defense tells you it's the original, and you say you know, but you don't care what that says. You should, if it's the truth, right? I mean, I'm not coming at you. I'm just I'm trying to have an honest dialogue about it, because why would you not care if it's the original or not? Well, I mean, if you don't care, why are you bothering to comment on it and tell everybody it's fake? If you're not going to go believe the direct source, the defense team, wouldn't they tell you if it was enhanced or not? Like, look what they did. They enhanced this video and blah, blah, blah. They would absolutely do that, but they didn't choose to go that route. They released the original, raw, unedited version. So, if people don't care about the truth, I don't know what to say anymore.
The dispatch says, are you talking to the officer? She says yes. Then the dispatch says, all right, I'm gonna let you go since they're there. She says, all right, bye. Sandy says, I sound a little bit shaken up by this. It's unfortunate. I'm sad. I am, because I am familiar with some of the victims' family members, and I know that when this airs out, they're probably going to hear it too, and to have to listen to all this, and to also have to listen to so many people for so long come out and harass victims' family members and things of that nature. The surviving victims, say that they had some sort of ploy or plot, they were involved in this in some form or fashion, and you just hear the trueness behind the 911 call. You hear exactly what I expected to hear, which was panic, denial. You hear, once it comes down, just flat out devastation. These kids, and that's what they are. They're just a bunch of kids. They saw something horrific, and there's so many people that are willing to go out there and say, "Oh man," I heard this one theory that this person said that they were like, somebody ordered DoorDash, was eating a burger while the homicides were taking place, just laughing, and I was like, how does that even make sense to you? I mean, or the fact that some of these theories are that there's multiple students involved, and yet you hear these kids' voices, and not just then, but also at the celebration of life, and you see how this impacted them, and how it impacted the families, and anybody who was there, right? Anybody who's involved in it whatsoever. And to think that all these college kids went and did something so callous to the point where even one of them was eating, Jack in the Box while this was happening, and not one person had the remorse, had the, any feelings of humanity at all to be affected by it. And I think that's completely normal, or that's the way it went down, and have to, the families and people have to deal with that. It's sad too. We have an amazing super donation. I want to say thank you so much, Rebecca Bruce, for your $50 donation. That is amazing. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. You are amazing. But yeah, I mean, hearing something like this.
Oh, excuse me. I was about to choke there on my drink. So what do you guys, I mean, there's differences in what he described compared to the transcript that we got. But I think the biggest thing that I heard, Hunter was already in the house, and it doesn't appear that the girls initially saw that, and why is there blood not everywhere? Because we heard very early on that a lot of that was contained to the bedrooms, and a lot of us do believe the doors were opened once, the friends came on scene, or once the first initial officers got on scene. So by the time the other officers arrived, those doors were open because they opened them, right? There's nowhere that says those doors were open all night long. We've all heard the Murphy stuff back and forth about that. Maybe some think this is all just one big screen movie. I think they do, Jeff. Shit, you heard them all. You've heard that theory, how they're all standing around at the grub truck with their phones in their hand, watching the unaliveds go down on a pay-per-view type shit situation. A snuff film, they call it. I've heard it all. I've heard about the cannibalism, heard about the tunnels. I've heard about these innocent victims' parents' wrongdoings and how that caused what happened to them. I've heard all of the theories that people have tried to put together with other actors in this. Enan Harsh couldn't get there with that either. Couldn't get there with Kopaka. Ombre stuff can't get there with it either. And neither can the made up shit the people are putting out there and then sitting around and laughing about it. Flat out laughing about it. Made me sick to my stomach. Let me pull this shit up. And if I see, because for some reason, I'll be honest with you, I don't take none of these cases like to bed with me. I don't do it. I compartmentalize them. I choose to true crime. There are going to be certain victims that come along that I feel closer to. These 4 are those victims. Xana, I love you, girl. Danger, if you're out there listening, you know why. Ethan holds a special place in my heart, too, because some of the things I've seen about Ethan and his tremendous family. The Gonzalezes. My heart breaks for Christy because I've been in her shoes. And she hasn't had time to mourn her daughter properly. There's no closure. This trial won't bring a closure. It will bring another step on her journey to healing. People need to get that closure word needs to go away. It's a healing journey, and it's different for everybody, and it takes time. And, you know, these victims may have been young, naive, intoxicated, made bad decisions that night, but that doesn't mean they did anything wrong or harmed their roommates. It just doesn't mean that. And for level-minded adults who can't see that is beyond me. And I'm sick of hearing there was a cleanup. Police know when cleanups were done. We had Mr. Steve on talking about that very fact. Have you ever watched real crime shows? They absolutely know if a cleanup occurred. You don't got to just walk in and smell the chemical. Oh, they had 8 hours. The chemicals disappeared. Bleach does not disappear that fast. I'm allergic to that shit. It will linger for 3 days, and I can't get rid of it. I don't use it. My sister is a bleach freak. I cannot stand it. So don't think that bleach dissipated over that 8 hours, because it didn't. The smears from the cleanup that occurred would still be there when they luminoled and took pictures. Ann Taylor has all those pictures. Has she once come out in a filing and even alluded to there's a staging going on here? Not one time. Not once. So, okay. Maybe I'll shut up about that now. Just so over the bullshit. These cases, just like with Delphi, were bad enough that we just don't need all that extra shit. And boy, do we have extra shit all the time. All right, so what did I do with it? Oh, I didn't add it on here yet, because I just did it earlier. Okay, let me go get it right here. This was just something I put together because I'm so sick of it. These 2 people I have seen time and time again, more times than I care to admit, come out on YouTube and spread the bullshit. And this is Rory from what's his damn show's name, Thou Shalt Not Kill, and Tommy Jude, Once Upon a Crime Time. Some of you are familiar with them, some of you are not. If you're getting your information about Idaho 4 from these two guys, and then you're coming over here into my chat and want to throw out facts, you need to leave. And then I'm just being honest. Bye.
Remember the rumor of Maddie flushing that stuff down the toilet? Where'd that come
Yeah,
from?
I started it.
Yeah.
Well, I was just guessing one night. And I was on Rory's, I think it was. I didn't even have a channel at the time. I was on Rory's, I think. And I was just guessing. Maybe she flushed 75 grams worth of fucking drugs down the toilet.
Man.
And the next thing you knew, it grew up to 200.
Now remind you, he's talking about Madison Mogan, a victim in the Idaho 4 case. Made up rumors about her, and they're all sitting here laughing like that shit's funny.
75,000. I'm fucking laughing.
You know how YouTube people are.
You know how YouTube people are. You damn right y'all do. So do I.
In my opinion, I haven't said this out loud, but in my opinion, I think that forensic team are crisis actors. In my opinion, here's why: they don't have the proper attire. They're not following procedure. Right. They're just taking like random pictures of shit, picking it like they're making it a point. They're like, oh, look what we just found.
Yeah.
Meet Mr. Rory. Mr. Rory is an actor, a filmmaker, and a poet who writes disgusting poetry about women. But he's going to turn around and call all these CSI people from the Idaho State Police and the Latah County Crime Lab crisis actors. And there are people who, thousands of subscribers, watch this shit and then believe every freaking bit of it. And I've done put out one video on Rory showing them all how he's an actor. He doxed himself by accident one day. Shouldn't have done that, Rory. Because we know all about your poetry and your weirdo stuff you write about. And your bushy eyebrows, why you want to go there, Mr. Boots on the Ground.
So in my opinion, I think we got the DoorDash driver. His name is and we need to go hunting for him. Because he needs to start talking. Because he might know something very important. The plot thickens, guys, so I will keep my nose to the ground and I will keep hunting. We're going to figure this out, like I said.
And the sad part is, these two aren't the only ones out there doing it. They're not. There's a lot of them out there doing it. And the sad
Let me start now here with this
call coming out is those who are doing that will do it tenfold, especially when it comes to the victims. And I think it's disgusting, and I'm sick of it, you know. Thank you, Sirius. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the YouTube police. I don't want to, but I have made a couple of videos, and I will call these people out about Idaho 4 over and over. It makes no bones to me. I do not care about any of them. They don't scare me. What are they going to do to me? You know what I mean? Go make a video about me? Go right ahead. I don't think you got the talent to do it, honestly. You probably don't even know how to use Canva or CapCut. All you can do is sit up there and talk about shit and make up lies. My God.
From where did you go? Where did you go?
This is one I made, and it's not a long one, but it's about my favorite person. My favorite person who won't come and talk to me.
I was naive. I will own this out the gate. I was naive by going to I was looking for numbers, and so I was going to the greatest numbers and the greatest masses that I could reach.
Going for the greatest numbers and the greatest masses she could reach. Meet WSU Mom Kim. The lady, if you can call her that everybody platformed for a solid year.
Keep this on page 1, right?
She wanted to keep all her bullshit on page 1. All her made up stories, all her lies, all her drunken tales that she had to come on and tell about. Her story grew taller on down the line. She was completely not doxed, but outed herself on Melissa Jacobs' channel, right? Remember that big show when she came into the chat and just begged and begged and begged to come up on panel, and Melissa finally let her up there, and she was drunk off her ass, and she admitted to making up so many things. In this case, it wasn't even funny. Oh, stuff I just heard and put together in my head, things I don't know for sure, but all the stuff you were stating for facts is a solid year that people ate it slap up, because they knew putting Kim on their panel was going to bring in the numbers. And then she sat around and she was trolling chats, and if your numbers are down, I'm coming on panel. She would pop into the chats and beg to come on panels. I can't with that lady. And this guy right here, I couldn't with him either. Let me get him up here. Hold on. Okay. Now, call them grifters, call them whatever the hell you want to call them. I don't know anymore what to call these people. This is one of the first ones I did to call out people in this case. Now, I don't know how many of you remember back in the day that T-Rev claimed he had a caller, you know. We're going to listen to this right now and show you what happened.
We're going to get right back into these phone calls because I want to hear from you guys. I wanted to do a little refresher, play this clip, and really get everything back into our mind. And again, what is your thoughts, opinions, and theories here? Are you thinking something else than what a lot of us are thinking? 219-885-9693. We want to hear from the people. We want to hear from the people. What's your thoughts and opinions? Get it.
Within hours of Kohberger's arrest, a YouTube clip from a crime podcast emerged, immediately went viral, okay? The users of the podcast were saying, hey, this is Brian Kohberger. I didn't believe it until we interviewed someone who knew Brian Kohberger in high school. She heard the clip and said that is definitely his voice. Now, is she a certified expert? No, but it made me take another look. Take a listen for yourself.
One thing that every single one of them I feel like has asked me is, if you were going to kill somebody, how would you get away with it?
Now, again, it's him talking about the murders as removed from them. The host of that podcast initially was unsure as well whether it was Brian. Now believes it was likely him. He goes by T-Rev, so we'll call him that as well, and he joins us now. Thank you very much for coming with your splendid YOLO hat on. You only live once. Good choice. So, Brian Kohberger, you believe he called into the podcast. Why?
I mean, with friends reaching out and saying, or people like her that spoke out that said that it's, you know, that's him 100%. I mean, without me hearing his voice, I'm like, it's unconfirmed. But if you got friends that knew him and grew up with him saying it's confirmed, then I gotta say, hey, yeah, this is probably Brian Koberger. But I did send it into the FBI. I did clip that. I also went through 80,000 phone calls, found the number, sent it into the FBI as well, and they have that, and hopefully they get down to that information.
Good. Do you know that they are in receipt of it? Did they come back to you at all?
I know they have it. I've never got an email back yet.
All right, well, good. You did what you're supposed to do. Now, what struck you about the kinds of comments that this man made to you on the podcast?
Oh, man. Why would 10 people come up and ask you how to get away with murder? I mean, make that make sense to me. Why would 10 human beings like ourselves come up and say, hey, how would I get away with murder? And that's nobody's going to do that. And realistically in life, who is coming up to me or you or anybody that is around us right now and asking us, hey, how do you know how to get away?
Jeff, T-Rev is a good guy. He didn't even take notice of this caller to the next day. We'll let this play out.
Away with murder?
And he was saying that people kept coming up to him and saying that.
Call from
Dave.
Hey, what's up, Dave? You live?
Dave.
Hey, what's up, man? Is this T-Rev?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Not much, man. I found you today. I watched your live earlier this afternoon and been watching this one, and the thing that strikes me kind of weird about all this is that I live in a college town, and I've worked with probably at least 10 Sigma Chi members, and the one thing that every single one of them I feel like has asked me is, if you were going to kill somebody, how would you get away with it? And I just wonder if maybe this is nothing more than some kid in a fraternity trying to prove himself. And that was it.
So you said you worked
That
with
voice?
5 or...
Go ahead.
That voice is like the bridge guy's clothes.
Right.
Like that's 400 people that I know. Like
Exactly.
you're gonna tell me that's definitively Brian Koberger?
We're going to find out it's not here in just a minute, and we're going to show you how we find out it's not. And T-Rev absolutely knew it was not Brian Koberger, but allegedly, yes, they're trying to pass it off as Brian Koberger.
6 Sigma Chi kids, and they asked you if you can kill somebody, they can get away with it?
Yeah.
Did I hear that right?
Yeah. And I know that's a thing that just like maybe people say, trying to like have interesting conversation, but like just in my head, it's like it's always been these dudes that were in the fraternity. And so it makes me wonder if it's a thing that's in their like culture, that they ask to see how smart you are and whatever.
And notice the line of what the guy is saying about the fraternity brothers and the different things. This is an absolutely cooked up conversation. Because I know y'all, those of you who know where they were going with that lining of conversation.
And what kind of answer you come up with, and someone took it too far.
Oh, wow. What kind of dudes would ask you that?
So guys are asking him, what would he do? But then what do you do when they take it that far? So what'd you do, Koberger? You told somebody how to kill somebody?
Well,
that's crazy as shit, man. That's an outrageous statement, man. I mean, I'd write their names down.
Yeah, man.
Hello, everyone. There was more that we had to discuss and some technical difficulties, and we really want to go live tonight, though. We did not want to wait with what we have uncovered and figured out here at Hidden True Crime.
Now, Lauren did this video a very long time ago. It just wasn't seen by enough people.
Right. And the basis of this is, most of you know, we've even talked about it on our channel, the speculation that's been going on for 2 months that a podcaster named T-Rev received a call. We really appreciate you coming on, and whatever our community can do to dispel this rumor would be very helpful for Demo. I think we need no more. I mean, we could sit here. There's nothing else. Here he is. In the flesh.
There's a positive side to this, and that is that you have all these people looking into my call into a live stream on YouTube, and that distracts them.
Okay, Jeff, so go ask T-Rev. His Smoke is his good friend, right? They were friends. Smoke is the one that called in that phone call. So how did T-Rev not know that was his friend? He also had a fake caller in the Madeline Soto case, which really pissed me off.
And gets them out of the road of the actual people that are doing the work, which is the FBI and the police. So, I don't know, maybe I'm going to get like some kind of award for that. They're like, hey, you kept them out of the road.
Yeah.
And
right.
I'm joking. I'm not going to get into
No, I know.
But like, you know what I mean. It's crazy that you make a call. I should never do that. So like, yeah, my message would be to people, like, never call into anything that's a live stream on YouTube, and never call into anything. Don't put your neck out. It's stupid. Because then, and you guys seem like very nice people, and
thank you.
But do you want to get your phone blown up by strangers about something that is benign, as like, I wonder if this is what happened? It's crazy.
Right. And that's what's happened to you, and it's happened to many people when they do one little thing like this and the world speculates.
Yeah.
So,
and I think it shows that how there were so many coincidences that happened here, right? The Casey Arndt said it was Koberger.
Because she really believed it was Koberger.
Right. You had people putting
a friend of Koberger's.
Oh, that's what we talked about earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
You had people that knew his voice that were doing side-by-side comparisons, and unfortunately your voice, I mean, I don't know Koberger's voice very well, but I guess your voice is not that dissimilar from his. So, I think there was a confluence of things that had to happen.
Seems unlikely.
What's that?
It seems unlikely. I mean, like, accents, like a Utah guy, like, you want to go eat? You want to go eat? Like, someone from the East Coast doesn't say, you want to go eat? I mean, it just seems like a bunch of horse shit, kind of.
Well, in fairness,
is this Rick?
Yeah, who is this?
Yesterday,
you emailed me. You just emailed me again and said somebody said something. You want to clear the air?
Well, tell you what. Yeah, and I think I remember who this is, and I think this is what T-Rev in your show that you were talking about. I've seen everything that was going on. I went back and I found your stream and I watched it, and I've seen all your chat on there running their mouth, calling me, saying that I'm a liar and saying all kinds of stuff, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not a liar. They can say whatever they want. I don't care. But I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy.
No, but what bothered you the most, like, that you seen?
just them basically saying that I'm some kind of a troll or that I'm some kind of person on here that's just trying to call you and give you misinformation.
Well, no. I think it's the simple fact that people are saying, if you've seen those things, why didn't you report it to the police then? I think that's more of what it is that could, that the people are saying from what the comments that I've read. It's more of why didn't if he's seen these things, if this guy's seen the things that he said, why did he not report it to police? I think that's more of what the more of the majority of the people are saying in the totality of it. You know what I mean? That's what I think personally, just from comments that I've read.
See, that part right there was information because Madeline Soto's there, so that part was about where they had the fake caller for Madeline Soto as well. Jeff, you guys can believe what you want, but Smoke was, if you go back and listen to some of his older shows, Smoke was absolutely one of his friends. So Smoke was the one who called into the show. So you're not going to be able to sit here and tell me T-Rev didn't recognize his friend's voice, right? And if it was only a one-off thing, maybe, but he did it again in the Madeline Soto case, and we proved that as well. So take anything coming out of T-Rev's channel with a grain of salt. And I think a lot of us learned that when he broke out the spirit box. First of all, he didn't open a circle of safety, so I wasn't down with that at all, because I know what I'm talking about. But his little spirit box didn't tell him shit either. No more than his fake caller did. And and y'all know, T-Rev was one of the ones out there doing what they could to get bad information out on this case. The only person I respect right now, not the only person, but I'm going to say I got a lot of respect for Publicly Buzzed, because he came on my show and we had a candid conversation about the early days of this case. And he's probably the only one I've seen come out and own any of it. And I commend him for that, because he absolutely knows what I'm talking about. And people were doing all kind of stuff. You couldn't get away from it. I would not be able to, I swear, if I had been streaming a year and a half ago, I probably couldn't have got any views on anything I did on Kohberger if I wasn't on board with the he's innocent 100,000% guy, Yeah, I know T-Rev's got over 50,000 subscribers, Jeff, but I've also watched a lot of T-Rev's content, and a lot of it, you go watch who you want. I don't choose to watch him. I don't trust him. You can have 50,000 subs, but are they active? Do you know what I'm saying? They ride in on some high horse and everybody just subbed up because they really like the way you were doing this and that, and then they kind of just fall off. You know what I mean? Just because that doesn't mean you got 50,000 watching.
Nope. I've seen people with 20,000 subs have like 20 people in chat.
How many channels? I can probably name you a handful of channels right now that built their channels on the backs of the Idaho 4 victims. Because like I said, you couldn't put out a stream even alluding to the possibility that PCA was right, or you were going to get haters all up in your comments, and you weren't going to get thumbs down, you weren't going to get any views. And they were going to talk about you on their streams. And if it wasn't a crazy story on Idaho, then you weren't going to get a view on it. And I promised when I started streaming, that's just not who I am to start with. You know what I mean? I can't do it. When I see these victims get drugged and slandered and accused of things by a lot of creators out there, to me it's ridiculous. They need to stop and ask themselves, what would they do if that was their child? How would you handle all the things being said about your child? Regardless of how you feel about Kohberger's guilt or innocence at the moment, why do you got to trash the victims in order to prove your guy is innocent? His innocence should stand alone on evidence, right? Not because you can. Who you gonna throw reasonable doubt out to? You're fighting with YouTube,
Well,
they're fighting with each.
Salty. That's why our channels make a difference. Because
I hope so,
we may only have 1,000-ish. I have less than 1,000. You have more than 1,000 subs, but the people in our chats are real and genuine and thoughtful, and for the most part, respectful. I mean, we get some trolls from time to time. Got to deal with those, but
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have 795 subs, and 790 of them are real, genuine people that
Right.
aren't in it for the drama.
Yeah, because these cases, I mean, if you're looking for drama, there's stuff out there to fulfill that need, you know? I get it, Jeff. You're his friend, so you're a little biased, but he did some shady ass shit in Maddie Soto's case. Even the Sebastian Rogers case. I'm sorry, like sneaking up there on Seth, getting into Seth's house, being friends with him, and secretly photographing him and then putting it out on the internet. That's what T Rev was doing over there at Sebastian Rogers' case, fooling around, stealing Seth's girl, all kinds of stuff. His girl come out and made a damn video about him not long ago. Craziest shit I've ever seen. So I don't trust a guy who can't keep his shit straight with his woman, who can't take care of his own children, then goes and exploits those children because he's repaired his relationship with them. Yay, good for the kids. But you've just done too much shady stuff for me to even benefit from watching that stream anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? I only watched it a few times anyway. And back when I was watching T-Rev was when he had Detective John on there. And I'll tell you right here, right now, and it may not be a popular sentiment, and I really don't care, but I liked Detective John on T-Rev because I thought he was smart, he was sensible, and he made it make sense, and he couldn't buy into these stupid conspiracy theories, even when he called out WSU Mom Kim. Then it finally took Jules to call out WSU Mom Kim, and boy, people who supported her turned on her for that. It's ridiculous. It's not our fault we can point out the liars, you know. Detective John's still around. He occasionally pops in over at 12 Gauge's channel in the chat with us. He's not doing anything yet on his channel, but yeah, he's still around. I don't know where all he goes and watches, but I do know he comes into 12 Gauges. Right, Truth can only take so many pokes before you go off. With these victims, it's just, I don't get it anymore, you know? So I understand the nervousness around releasing a 911 call. And okay, if I'm a creator, if I'd gotten the call, I know going into it, when I release that, it's going to be shared and it will be ran with, some in a good way, take it for what it's worth, you know, what it is. And then there's going to be those who take it and go their own way with it. But just people need to be careful out there, especially when you got creators admitting what they've done in the past. And Brett Norton was one of those people. You know, Dago, one of those people. CJ, all of them were involved in it. Every single one of them. All behind the scenes, talking about what they were going to put out next. What angle are we going to take and what are we going to do with it? So you just have to keep that in mind when you're out there. And, you know, it makes me understand a little more when people come into the chat with certain comments, then I understand where they're coming from. Not where they're coming from, but where they got the information from, right? And, you know, I don't come out here and just automatically start calling everybody dumb and they don't get it and they don't get that, but they sure use us to prove their points or to try to prove their points. You know what I'm saying? So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, baby. But if y'all want to keep coming out there and dragging victims, this is completely ridiculous, and I'm not gonna put up with it. I don't. Ugh, it's very disgusting. Yeah, I don't know if we can get John back. He might come back. If he does, I just hope he's not about drama. Just comes in and talks about cases. You know what I mean? He tried to call out the bad actors. He tried to expose them, and all that good stuff. We all saw that go down. But I don't know. Dolphin, Firefly, do you guys have any thoughts? Are y'all still with us?
I'm still here. No, I'm just listening to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it's like I don't understand why we have to have that kind of shit in these cases when they don't need it. It's like I said with Delphi, that case was crazy enough. We don't need the extra crazy. This case is the same way. We just didn't need all that extra. And I don't know if it was in just people, people who started all that because they were in defense of Koberger and didn't know how to go about defending him. So the best thing we can come up with is uh, everybody in town did it, and people still think that the entire town is involved in it and all covering it up, you know. And yeah, I can't say that won't happen, but I'm not seeing any evidence of that here. Yeah, and why do you think that fell apart, Jeff? Why do you think that fell apart? Ask John. He'll tell you. Will you believe him? Will you believe him? Well, that's right, you did mod, didn't you, Truth? I forgot about that. Does anyone remember a couple that used to do true crime? I can't remember their names, but they were building a studio about a year ago. No, Donnie, I have no clue what you're talking about.
A Thought Riot podcast.
Yeah, Thought Riot.
What about them?
Well, they disappeared like in April.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Well, who knows?
Nobody knows what's up with them. Like what? They no warning, nothing. They just stopped making videos. No contact.
I didn't watch them that much anyway. I think I maybe seen 2 streams, and that was it. Danger says it's that's the town's fault because of their public funds allocations left the door open for speculation. What left the door open for speculation was Steve Gonzalez coming out in the very beginning and questioning law enforcement openly. I'm not shaming him for doing that. He can do what he wants, but he no doubt did that. And the minute Steve came out publicly and put in some doubt, it put doubt in a lot of people's minds, right? And then insert all the rumors that came in afterwards. So I don't know. I know people have their thoughts about the town, but I don't follow the money thing and all of that. But where's anything to back any of that up? You know what I mean? Yeah, I never watched those Thought Riot people very much. But there's no new documents that have come down in the case. No new audio released yet. Like I said, I'll be surprised if we don't have it by the end of the day somewhere on one of the main news channels. As long as it's not artificially created, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, I find it hard to believe that Daniel and Gray Hughes both have it and it's a fake. You know what I mean? Well, I don't find it hard to believe because shit happens, but they would have had to gotten, behind the scenes and conjured that up together. Come on. They would have had to have done that. Let me see something here. I was looking for any updates, and there wasn't anything right now.
I was going to say, hopefully the full video or audio will be released sometime this weekend, and that will resolve all that.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to believe what they want to believe, and there's nothing we can really do about that. I choose to believe that right now it's real. I have no reason to believe that it's fake.
Yeah.
I just don't. And I don't know what's going on with News Nation and taking it off their website versus having it on the YouTube channel. I can't explain what they do. I'm not a TV producer. I'm not their writers. I don't know what they're doing over there. Maybe we can, this Ashley got an email on her YouTube channel. I'll email her and ask her. So you really think that video is real, Ashley?
I don't see.
I'll come into her chat and ask her. A number of people, but it also means they're capable of setting him up. It's a tricky one. I'll leave the door open to BK being involved. You can connect him to the girls, like the surviving roommates or the victims? Show me that connection, dude. I want to see it. I think Steve Gonzalez raised so much hell over them releasing transcript, not telling them first. He said, cool it. Steve's got no control over it. He was pissed about them releasing the transcript without telling them about it. But he has no control over what they release and when they release it. But he does deserve to be told ahead of time it's coming. There was nothing leaked. It came through a FOIA request. So it's not like it's Linda Lane leaked footage, or even a screenshot that Steve himself leaked of 1112 to show what that camera could see.
Thing about like the 911 audio, it in no way proves or disproves Koberger being involved. It's just 911 audio.
It's just 911 audio. It doesn't prove or disprove anything, like you said. But yeah, we understand there is there's been a gag order from day one. They claim that it was released to them in a FOIA request. Okay, so it's not like it's leaked to them. That's a big, big, big difference and a big giant leap. If it was leaked, we got a problem, right? Gag order in place. But they claim it came out of a FOIA request. And once that transcript was made public, I bet you the audio was as well. It's it's not uncommon. And I guarantee you there's a handful of people right now with that same FOIA request in to see if they can get it. Because if they got it, Gray Hughes isn't special. Neither is Drunk Turkey. They have no rights over any of the rest of us. They're not top tier, right? Any of us can get it. So there's probably a handful of us out there right now that have that same FOIA request in. If it's available, we're going to get it too. So just be clear that it's not leaked information as far as what we're being told by the people who have it. And News Nation said they confirmed that it was not a leak. So, but again, I can't change everybody's minds. I'm not even here to do that. But I know, I know what I know. I really don't have much else to present today, guys, unless we wanted to have a conversation about that 911 call. If there was anything else in there that you guys thought was worth talking about. I think it's going to show, you can hear at the girls' voices, things are not good, and if people can get past that 8-hour phone call and realize these girls were probably, remember what it was like to be 19 and drunk. Don't ever forget what that was like if you were ever 19 and drunk. Because the minute you forget that, you don't even need to be grown up as an adult. I promised myself at 16 when I had kids, I would never forget what it was like to be 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, and I never forgot it. So it helped me when I dealt with my own children in the future, because I wasn't going to be that parent, right? So you just have to, put yourself in that place for a minute and honestly look at it without blinders on. I'm saying now that they know that it can be FOIA requested, they're probably already on it. The second they realize Drunk Turkey had it, you can bet Lana and everybody else in the world is trying to get that FOIA request. And don't think that when mainstream media gets their hands on it, they're not going to play the whole thing. Unlike these two people on YouTube who are trying to be sensitive. They want that full audio. So, yeah, right? I mean, I was partaking in things at 19. Yeah, I might have seen some weird shit too back then. Or been unclear about what I've seen and heard. Been there, done that.
Do you really think they're not sharing the entire thing because they're quote unquote sensitive?
I don't know.
That's not a description that I would associate with either of those content creators.
Well, and I know that. Well, that's what I'm trying to be nice. I'm just trying to be nice because I can be real bitchy about it if I wanted to be. Believe me. All right, we'll go ahead and play my video where I shamed Daniel for covering for WSU Mom Kim. He knows it's out there. He knows. But yeah, I don't know why they're not playing it. I can't give you that answer. They answered it when they went on their lives, so I can only refer people back to their lives to see what they actually said about it. Okay, well, all of y'all that know for a fact that it's AI and that Gray Hughes and Drunk Turkey are lying, that's cool. Do you? You know, Drunk Turkey's not my favorite guy in the world, but I'm not gonna not watch his
Nope.
content because if I'm trying to find out something, right?
And
Or if
I
I'm
better have damn good proof if I'm going to accuse somebody of creating something from AI and
Yeah.
attributing it to public records. Yeah,
That's
no,
the problem with these
I'm
damn
not.
YouTube streets. They're all so gun shy and PTSD'd out, you know, over all this entire case because they absolutely want to believe in Koberger's innocence or guilt, whatever, however you want to look at it. But the ones causing the most problems are the ones who believe in his innocence because they're willing to do anything to prove it. But you need to prove it to the right people. You know, like I said, with all that stuff people claim they have that's going to prove Koberger's innocence, then by God, email that shit to his attorneys. It ain't doing no good on the YouTube streets. It's just, I don't understand it anymore.
We saw that in Delphi, where not a single one of us was on the jury in Delphi, and not a single one of us are going to be on the jury in Ada County.
Nope, but I can watch this trial.
Yes, true that.
I can watch this one. And there's the difference between Delphi and this case. I'll be able to watch the difference, you know, and that's going to make a big difference. And I don't know, you know, are people so far gone they're not going to believe what is presented in court? It may not be a lot. It might all just be circumstantial, and you know, it may take, you know, the sheath DNA is a deal, but what if they do have more? Will people be floored away by it? Will they call that fake too? You know, why are the DoorDash details still a big blind spot for everybody? Danger, I'd love for you to come up and actually explain that to me as to why that's still an issue for people. Because he self-reported that he was there and they didn't know right away. What makes it, I still don't understand what makes the DoorDash guy suspicious. When I know as a former DoorDash driver, they have every single detail about that delivery. Every single detail about it. Who called it in, what device it was placed from, who paid for it, how it was paid for, where it was ordered from, exactly what time they confirmed that drop off, exactly what time that driver pulled out of that driveway. All of that's on the DoorDash app.
I think we just want to know if the DoorDash driver saw something. Did you see the white car? Did you see a white car? Did you see, you know?
Of course. That'd be the first thing you ask the guy. If you're a good investigator, you got somebody self-reporting that they were there delivering a DoorDash around 4 a.m. The first question I'm going to ask you, did you see anything? Any cars coming and going? Did you pass anybody? Did you, what, all the things that need to be asked. Just because I think investigators in Delphi might have been dumb as dirt don't mean I think the ones in Moscow were. Not yet. I mean, we don't have missing interviews and lost interviews and recorded over bullshit here. Tips missing for 5 straight years. Accidentally put in a box and forgot about. We don't have all that going on over here. So if you don't think the DoorDash stuff was investigated thoroughly, especially placing themselves there, right, at the scene, you don't think they weren't investigated thoroughly? And I'm sure if they did see something, law enforcement absolutely knows about it, and that will come out in court if they're called to testify. The only way you're going to know that the DoorDash app will let you know, Danger, if someone came to the door or if they left it. Because here's how that works. When you get to that house, it will say, do not ring doorbell, do not knock, baby sleeping, dogs will bark. So you sit it down, you take a picture, You send it, and it texts the customer that their food is sitting outside that door. That's how the customer knows. Some want me to knock on that door and hand it to them. Either way, I have to confirm what I do within the app, right? The app always knows which way that went down. And then I have to confirm that drop off before it closes that out, before I can go to the next one and get paid for the one I just did.
Hey, I'm curious about Elliot's comment. He thinks that part of the 911 call is too prejudicial and could taint the jury pool. I'm interested in what part would be prejudicial. They don't really describe him. They said somebody was in the house.
That they saw a man in the house. Well, Dylan's statements say that too. So I don't think that's going to be seen as prejudicial.
I don't think she even says much about the intruder on the phone, on the 911 call from the transcript.
You think they can get a mistrial over that 911 call?
No.
No, I don't. I'm not a law student, but I've watched a lot of trials, and I don't know if you can get a mistrial over allowing a 911 call in. Because it's a chaotic call that might benefit the defendant, right? We don't know how that's going to play yet. I'll be surprised if it doesn't come in.
I honestly don't see how it would affect the case one way or another. I personally don't.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm not a lawyer.
There's actual evidence in the case that would matter more, right, than that 911 call.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids frantically passing a phone around. Yeah, there's a way you could even do away with it and let it be a regular 911 call. It's still not going to affect this case. Not to the extent I think people. The only thing it's doing is it's going to cause people to look at these roommates even with more side eye because they want to, right? Not because they're going to give it a fair listen to. Pokemon, you hope they make you some grandkids on that trip to Venice. They're going to get up there and get all sexy and romantic. That'll do it. Well, yeah, I agree if you deliver a food order and it overlaps, but is it overlapping? Because the drop-off at the DoorDash was 4 a.m.-ish. We'll know the exact time in court. That car comes in at 4:04 for the fourth pass, 4 minutes after DoorDash is dropped off, allegedly. 4:07, it goes behind the Queen Road apartment buildings for the last time. So, yeah, the DoorDash driver being there is a problem, but don't you think they didn't investigate it good enough? Or are we thinking that they just didn't investigate everybody good enough and they only started investigating Kohberger when they got that name from the FBI? And I'm still a little weirded out by the fact that WSU had that car pinged back in November, but yet Moscow didn't hear the name until December. That bothers me.
I know.
It does. It bothers me to no end. Things like that bother me in investigations. So for a month, we had a tip that nobody knew about. We had one for 5 years in Delphi nobody knew about. Like, come on, what are we doing here? That's the parts of the investigations that should bother people.
Yeah, because to me, obviously FBI was looking into him. So if they thought it was a strong enough tip, why didn't they bring it out in one of these daily meetings that they had?
Well, when did WSU contact Moscow with that information?
I mean, I thought they called the tip line with it. No, I'm not
Why
sure.
Well, here's my thing. If I'm a freaking police officer and I am one town over and I just queried White Elantras knowing about that case, I'm not going to call a tip line. I'm calling the Moscow Police Department. Hey, this is WSU officer over here at the campus. We got our eyes on a White Elantra. I will not call that tip line. And here's another thing I'm going to tell you right now. If I spot Sebastian Rogers in my hometown today, I will not call the TBI tip line and wait for someone to finally get to that tip. I'm calling my local authorities. I'm calling my sheriff's department, telling them what I see, what I think I see, and who I think it is, and I'm going to give the ball to them to do what's right next, because someone needs to get their eyes on that child immediately, not wait on some tip line bullshit. So I don't see why WSU would call a tip line with that information instead of calling them directly and saying, hey, we got our eyes on this car. You guys might want to check it out. There was a whole month in between there. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm just checking on chat as we go through this, guys. What? Why did Aaron Snell say the roommates were asleep downstairs during the unaliving? Do you think it was to protect them from killer? Who is Aaron Snell? And he said that the roommates were asleep. Well, we know now that they weren't. Originally Dylan was upstairs, blah, blah, blah. The texting happens and she runs down there, which we all knew that she ended up down there. But I don't know who Aaron is, so.
ISP, maybe?
I have no clue. Who is he, Danger? Type it into chat for me.
He's an ISP.
You know I love you, Danger. You want he my favorite debate. I will debate with him. Well, him and Architect, we debate a lot too. But I will debate with him. It's like if he sees something, Dan's usually got receipts. Like Dan just doesn't come out with shit. He'll provide me a receipt if I ask him. So,
but that was early on in the investigation. The story's kind of changed a little bit since then. Like we came out, when we were first told that the two survivors were downstairs on the first floor, and then later on we found out after the PCA that no, Dylan was on the second floor. Started initially on the second floor, so it kind of is fluid, this story. So as we get more information, so maybe he just didn't have the full story yet.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of the incomplete story, from the beginning that was out there. I feel bad I get clumped in with the no receipts maniacs.
Oh, yeah. I get it, because
I
I hang out there too sometimes, just because I want to hear everybody's input. You know what I mean?
If it's bad input, let me know so I make a video. Because I'm not playing with
Well,
these.
there's a difference between, they interpret something one way, and then the people who are purposely trying to deceive people. You know what I mean? Like the ones.
Yeah, but then you got to wonder about the educational level of those who can't interpret something the correct way either.
Oh, that's true. I've seen a lot this last week that I'm like, okay, I'm not going over there anymore. You know what I mean?
Exactly, because if
when you're interpreting the DNA like a certain way, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people are out there saying that the defense has proven that's not, going to be Kohberger's DNA under Maddie's fingernails. That's not what the document said.
No, yeah, the difference between what is it called? Inconclusive.
It was
and excluded. Yeah.
Right. So it's not, nobody has come out and said that is definitely not his DNA under Maddie's nails, but no one's come out and said it was either. It's inconclusive. But people are out there. I had people swearing to me last night. I was like, dude, go read the damn document. I don't know what else to tell you. What are y'all talking about? The Boulder County Sheriff. Oh.
Hey, was it?
Why does the Boulder County Sheriff look like the serial killer Arthur Shawcross? Y'all are crazy.
Hey, was it Pokemon earlier who said something about Maura Murray? There may be some update on that case.
On the Maura Murray, I saw her comment as well.
Have to look into that, because that's always been an interesting case. It's really old, like over 20 years old, I think.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned a case very early on. I think it was Young Black Economist talking to herself. Gledhill, is that her last name? I got her some videos on her. Where's my thingy? Now, if I'm not mistaken, she's the one who unalived her husband.
Who's that?
I'm trying to remember her last name. What is it? Glanfield? Let me look up here in chat. Because I know I saved something to my playlist about, because I've actually watched a few things about her court case. Let me find it here real quick. Because it's interesting. It's what people do, crazy things to people. Like insane things to people, and think they can get away with it. That's the sad part, you know? That you just decide that it's time to take somebody out because they're annoying or whatever, or you're tired of being married, you're having an affair and you want to leave and you can't, whatever. It's ridiculous. Where is she? It was a court TV piece that I had saved because I was going to share it with you guys, but we never got around to it. So we've been talking about other stuff. But it is a case I have followed, so maybe I will put together some stuff for that as well and look at it, because when I started reviewing the case, I was like, man, this chick is wild. And yeah, it's they were a married couple, they had kids, she was having an affair, and then she unalived her husband. And oh, good Lord, I got too much Lori Vallow stuff saved. Lord help me. When I go down the rabbit holes, I go down them. Where in the hell did I put that lady's story? Oh, it should be coming up through here. It's one of the latest trials, I believe, Court TV is covering. And I used to watch a lot more Court TV during the day, but lately I haven't been on top of it. You know what I mean? Because I've been streaming and stuff.
Everybody keep checking to see if that audio's coming out.
Right.
Be checking all day long, like, hey, is that out yet?
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna put it in a audio file in the docket or not. You know what I mean? I don't. If it's if you may have to FOIA it because it's an audio thingy.
Well, I do have a direct request into Whitcomb. So
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay.
I'm still waiting.
We put
Still
that
waiting.
in. Yeah, I hit Joe up the other night because Joe does all the FOIA requests, and I told him what was going on. I was like, look, see if we can get this. And he's got the actual information with the file number and all that good stuff. So we're going to try to get that. You know, it may get released before we get it. If we get it, we are going to share it, and we'll do it respectfully. And I do it for investigative purposes. I don't do it to exploit victims or any of that. I'm not going to go out and make these fancy little thumbnails to drag you in under false pretenses. I don't like that. You know,
Yeah.
I don't like making cartoonish looking thumbnails because I'm an adult and I'm talking about true crime and there's nothing funny about it. You know what I mean? So I may not have the most popular thumbnails, but mine are what they are. I'm going to be honest with you, put out there what I'm going to talk about, and if you want to come talk about it, we're going to talk about it. But I'm not going to go put out some phony bullshit to get you over here. I'm going to put out there exactly what I want to talk about. Like I try to anyway. I don't want to be that person.
I'm not crazy about the AI generated images of Koberger either. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I don't do those. I can do them all day long on Canva, right? I can do them all day long on Canva. I have no desire to AI up damn Brian Koberger. There's too many good, regular, real photos of him out there that I have saved that I can use. I don't need an AI version of him holding a vacuum, you know, or his knife sheath floating out of his car. I don't need any of that.
Yeah. Or you just see like a hooded person with a knife in their hand in the dark,
Yeah,
you know, it's
I
like,
don't
I don't like that either. It's like,
I
no.
don't like it either. You know, no matter what I think about his innocence or guilt, that's the kind of shit that shouldn't be done.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it. You don't know that that man is that evil and sinister yet. We think he might be, but we don't know, you know, until we get there, you know. But it is crazy that what people will do just to get that click and that view. And if you don't think thumbnails are tied into that, because there was a time about a year and a half ago, thumbnails were all the talk on Twitter. Y'all need this, y'all need that, you need this. I'll make your thumbnails. I'll make my own on the Canva. Make them the way I want them. And there won't be no crazy shit all over mine. I can't do that. I'm honest to a fault. And that might not always be a good thing, but it is what it is.
It's good. It's good. That's why people like you, because you are you, you know?
Well, I appreciate that. Oh, look, I just accidentally found what I was looking for. I just looked over at my phone and there it was. Let me see something here. Okay. Let me pull up something real quick before we go.
Thanks, Pokemon. I'll look into that podcast to see if whatever the update is on the fingerprint for Maura Murray. Because that's interesting, that case.
So there's a fingerprint that was discovered. I have not listened to the podcast, but James Renner is claiming a fingerprint has been ID'd from her car. Oh, wow. Okay. We'll have to check that out.
Because I always wondered if she didn't just disappear and just like go live somewhere else, you know what I mean? Change her identity or something. That, you know, that's like wishful thinking. But
Yeah, that's a lot
but
of
it's
those.
been 20 years. Like, would nobody have recognized you by now?
Yeah, not many people can pull it. Some people have pulled off or faked their own deaths and got away with it for years and years and years and years, and only to be caught, 30, 40 years later. But, it got to the point in this country, though, that if a woman or young girl went missing, oh, she walked away from her life or she ran away. That was like back in the, way back in the day, hysterical woman, because she had her monthly period. That's just a hysterical woman right now. That's the way it was played out back in the day.
Did you know that's why it's called hysterectomy?
Yes.
That's crazy, isn't it?
In the Delphi case, the damn lead detectives, 11 o'clock that night, had decided these girls just ran off somewhere. They'll come home by daylight. We're calling off the search. It's cold. Come again with your bullshit. They're children. How can you, who do not know them, assume they ran off, they'll be back by morning? Had they had a history of being runaways? There's just too many women nowadays being chalked up to, oh, she walked away on her own accord. Or, oh, that young girl's just a runaway, right? No need to look for them. So anyway, let's watch this piece here. This is from Court TV. This is the case that Joe, that she was mentioning to you earlier, the Gledhill case. So this is probably something we'll take a deep dive into and put together some stuff on it. Now this was let me see when this was. It was just March 4th. This was a bail hearing, apparently. So you'll get to hear a lot about what her charges are in this one. So I'll let this play.
She was in court on Friday for her bail hearing. She's accused of killing her husband, Matthew Johnson. He was found dead last year as he was sleeping in their $1 million home near Salt Lake City, Utah. In court, the prosecutor noted a phone call between Gledhill and her lover. Listen to this.
Right before the defendant reported Matthew missing, the informant recorded a phone call with the defendant. And rather than playing it here, that recording, in the phone call, The defendant apologizes for telling the informant about what happened. She tells him to not think of her as a monster and to remember her who she was before she opened her mouth. And the informant tells the defendant that he was frightened by what she had told him. And then the informant, and I quote, says to her, hypothetically, if the roles were reversed and I did something to someone and I told you that I carried it out, like, you would be shocked and scared, wouldn't you? And the defendant responds, quoting, well, not if I deserved it. I always preached that I was like the Queen of Hearts in my past lives because I'm like off with their heads. I'm like, if we could just round up the scum of this earth and put them on an island or just kill them all.
Wow.
I could shipshape this country back into a good place. Ethical situation. However, she tells, and I quote the informant, I think that the fact that you got scared of me, that part, it broke my heart because I was like, wow, if you think I could even hurt a fly, like he's not a person. He wasn't a person anymore. He wasn't Matt anymore. And what's key from that recording is at this point, Matt hadn't been reported missing, yet the defendant was referring to him in the past tense.
Now, Johnson's body has never been found. The judge denied bail for her. What about that phone call, though? Let's talk about the phone call. Is that going to tip the scales of justice? I think so. Let's bring back in our legal eagles, Kirk Nurmi and Tommy Pope. Let's get your thoughts on this. Tommy, you first, please. What do you think?
Well, you know what?
They're going to get Julie all fired up. I like when she gets fired up. She got fired up one day over Adelphi. Oh my God, I laughed so hard at her. It wasn't funny because she was dead ass serious, but man, she was going for it. She was going hard.
Bail situation, it's risk of flight and danger to the community. And clearly, if whatever it is she's told this informant who she had a relationship with, it clearly enhanced.
Joe, I caught that as well. And did you also catch that she talked about her past lives?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was thinking Lori Daybell as well. I was like, oh,
yeah,
he wasn't even human anymore. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. I got past lives and you ain't human.
So that makes it okay.
A potential danger. Now I've got to believe the defense knew about this before today, and so I'm sure they're planning, whether suppression motions or cross-examination of the supposed informant. I'm sure they're not caught flat-footed on that.
Right, Tommy. Kirk, to you next, please. How do you think this phone call is going to play as the case progresses?
Well, female killers are an interesting breed, Julie. Someday we have to talk about it more extensively. But, this phone call leads me to believe rather than worried about bail, she better get comfortable spending the rest of her life in prison. She better start adjusting. Because the justifications and things like that, this is probably the tip of the iceberg here. It seems like this is going to be a real solid case against her. So I think if I'm right that this is a tip of the iceberg, this is going to be a pretty cut and dry case for the prosecution.
Right, Kirk. Yeah, she sits there just looking like she's unbothered. I mean, what an arrogant attitude. Her poor husband, there's poor kids now. I mean, this is just awful. I have a clip from her defense attorney. This is her counsel responding to the allegations at this juncture here at the bail hearing. Let's take a look.
The two biggest factors that cut against the state's requirement of substantial evidence are the lack of a body and lack of a murder weapon. Mr. Johnson is a highly trained Special Forces officer with several tours of combat under his belt and is equipped with abilities your standard citizen simply does not have. These abilities and experiences give multiple explanations and possibilities that have nothing to do with Miss Gledhill as it relates to his disappearance. Further, Your Honor, the lack of confirming evidence, I would argue the lack of confirming evidence on items allegedly disposed of by Ms. Gledhill is another cut against the state's requirement of substantial evidence.
All right, so we're going to see more from this hearing. You're going to get to watch all of it on Court TV Live today. 6 p.m. is the time we're going to start playing it back, so get ready. It's going to be quite an interesting hearing to watch. And as we get ready for Court TV Live to begin at 9 a.m., we're going to say Goodbye, but not goodbye forever, just goodbye for now to our wonderful friend and regular legal analyst on opening statements, Kirk Nurmi. So as many of you know, we're headquartered in the East here at Court TV, and Kirk lives in Arizona out west, and with daylight saving time, the switcheroo is going to happen on Sunday, and so it's going to be a little too early to wake up the next couple months. But Kirk, you'll be back in the fall, right?
What the fuck?
I know, she just what?
You'll be back in the fall when you can get up. Joe, you experiencing that same issue, aren't you?
A little bit. A little bit.
Oh my God. That's crazy. We'll see you in the fall when the time changes again. So yeah, that was a little introduction to that case there, guys. I'll get some more information because there were some more hearings and stuff and that trial's coming up. So we'll get together a little backstory on that as well and bring that out. Maybe tomorrow's show will be about that. Joe, are you going? What is tomorrow? Saturday?
Friday.
Tomorrow's Saturday.
You're right. It is Friday. Sorry, I'm not working right now.
I'm trying to think if I have anything going on this weekend. I can't. Oh, I do Saturday. I've got to go to my great niece's birthday party. I don't usually go anywhere on the weekends. My dad already hit me up. Was I going to the mud races? I'm like, Dad, we have a birthday party that day. Are you going to do both? But yeah, I'm not going to the mud races, but I will be going to the birthday party. So I probably won't stream again until Sunday morning, like my usual. We'll see.
Salty Sunday.
Salty Sunday. Unless, something comes down the pipe, through the cases we're following today. I may do a live tomorrow at some point, depending on what time I forgot what time the party is. I'm making my son keep up with all the information. It's my great niece's party, but I'm like, tell me when and where, and you're driving me. So
just a little heads up, Daniel posted something that it says full 911 call breakdown tonight, so I don't know if he's playing the full audio or not, but just to give you a heads up.
Oh, really? Okay. I will go.
Just something to check into, in case he
yeah,
does.
I'll check into it for sure. I'll have my notifications on for that. Didn't we drop his link in the channel earlier? If we can get it in there again, guys, go and sub up to Drunk Turkey if you want to, and listen to what he's got going on over there. Because if you believe what he has is real, which I do believe it's real.
I will only subscribe to him if he gets drunk on wild turkey. Like, that's...
I'm assuming that's what the turkey's about. I really don't know.
Well, in my video, they talk about how they don't drink on lives, but at the end of the video, him and Kim talk about how drunk they got on a live. Atlanta. And I'm like, cheers to that, Drunk Turkey.
I don't think I've ever seen Kim sober. She always seems like she's on a bender.
Well, I'm sorry. Don't bring the woman back on your show after knowing for months and months her stuff was all bullshit, and call it an open question type thing. And I ask a simple question about what do you think the impact of what you've done has had on social media? Mm-hmm. And then you interrupt, I'll answer for her. 5 minutes later, you're still answering for her. I didn't ask you to answer for her. I needed to hear her answer for her. That was my issue. I take issue with that, and he knows it. It's all good. So did he post that like on his community thingy or something?
Yeah.
Oh, I am subscribed. So why can't I see the community thingy?
Oh, in that community, I don't know. It's just for tonight. What do you call it? Live, future live.
Like I clicked on his lives and I don't see.
Oh,
there it is. Okay. Okay, it says. Let me take down this.
It doesn't say, but he might. He keeps
just
saying he might.
It just says the full. He knows this. He knows it's about to go public, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think, as a creator, he wants it to go public before he can get it public? No.
Maybe he wants to see if anybody else does it too, and then he'll just play it. I don't know. I can't read his mind.
No, they know it's coming. They know it's coming.
Yes.
They're not going to sit on this too
right.
terribly wrong. But it says heartbreaking, the full 911 call breakdown, Brian Koberger. So I thought you gave us the full breakdown. So maybe this will be the actual call. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, guys. Tune in tonight and see what he has to say. Either way, I'll go over there and listen, for the information, because I'm not opposed to going and listening to what he's got to say. They looked into it as far as it not listed in the case and told him I must have missed what that conversation was about.
Me too.
I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Oh yeah, that's right, Joe. You have something going on tonight. What you got going on? Where are you going to be?
Oh yeah, Miss Shorty is bringing me on her channel to talk about Lori Vallow Daybell and the Mormon religion.
Oh, interesting.
What time is that going to be on? Do you know?
That's going to be 8:00 Eastern.
Okay, so if you guys, we got another link in the chat there. Thank you, Pokemon. Thank you, Firefly, for dropping those links for us. So you guys, Friday nights are usually a little busy on the YouTube streets. With different streams going down, so you guys go pick your fancy, go where you will, just whatever you do. And this is gonna be my new motto. I'm gonna have to come up with something. Y'all got to stay safe on them YouTube streets out there. Y'all know it's dangerous.
You do you.
Yeah, I'm gonna do me. They gonna do them, but I'm just telling our community, stay safe out there. Know where you're getting your information from. Go back and watch other lives. If you stumble across somebody new and they're telling you something that you have never heard before, go look at some of their other stuff and see if you still like them. See if you still believe them. Are they showing you anything with verifiable receipts to anything they're bringing you? I'm not ever going to have an open panel phone call thing going on where randoms can call up and say whatever they want. I'll never have a open panel drop link where people come up here and start talking about cannibalism. That's irresponsible. So if I'm going to sit up here and act like I'm part of the media, and I'm going to hold mainstream media so high standards and accountable for all of their behavior, I'm going to hold YouTube social media content creators to that same standard. Just because you're on YouTube doesn't mean you have to be unethical or make up lies or get up here and talk shit all day. I mean, I get that's some people's game. If you're bored, hey, go for it. But don't do it at the expense of others, and don't make up stuff. Talk about the lack of evidence if you want to talk about it. Tear down the actual evidence against your alleged perpetrator, not everything else around them to try to take away from that, getting the eyes on them. It's just like people watching that damn Linda Lane video for a week and a half solid. People are still trying to say that is Murphy running all over the place in the Linda Lane footage. Y'all, we've watched it. Did y'all see Murphy running around anywhere?
No.
See a dog running around anywhere? No. Did you see Dylan running across the parking lot and jumping in that black truck that was parked for hours? No.
Yeah, if you gotta zoom in so close that it's all pixelated, you're not seeing anything. You can create in your imagination what you want to see.
I may not agree with a lot of things Jules says about this case, but she actually is the one who called out WSU Mom Kim finally, and she called out the whole fiasco over the Linda Lane footage. Straight up called them out. Very particular people for what they did for a solid week and a half with that footage. Never, not one time looking at that white sedan over there circling at all these different times. They were solely focused on a truck parked in a parking lot that they swore shadows were all around, and Dylan jumping in and out, and Kaylee's dog running.
I don't get that. It's like, and we sat and looked at it and correlated the circling of the building to the PCA. We're like, okay, this matches up. This is we know what we're looking at here. And we never once did we even consider the audio, because like the audio is going to be manipulated.
Exactly. And boy, was it, right? We all know, speaking of manipulation, the 112 footage, the 50-foot camera, 50 feet away, there was a whole thing come out where somebody put out audio that supposedly came from that camera.
Yep, I do
remember. You could hear, Maddie and Kaylee outside with some people, and Maddie screaming or yelling, "It's cold as fuck out here, I'm going inside." And then you hear Ethan screaming, "Xana." All of it. We've heard it all. There's a lot of fake stuff going around out there in this case. That's where your made up shit's at. And in fact, I still got a video saved about that particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I might save that to present next time too, because I need to find that. Because that is just another proven fact of how things were made up by people and put out there as the truth when it was absolutely not the truth. Even the people who own the camera at 1112 has come out and said that's not our audio from that night. Because you don't think they heard it or saw what they gave to the police? They absolutely did.
Yep.
Absolutely did. So that's a whole debunk thing, and people are still talking about that a little bit. The noises outside and the screams, and then those bodies were killed somewhere else and then moved into the house. Shit, when the Odinism stuff came out in Delphi, people began to make TikToks on the Odinism in Idaho. I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. Well, thank you, Miss Shorty. Look at there. Thank you, and welcome in. You are now a lead investigator. Welcome, welcome, and I appreciate that. But yeah, it's just, if just letting people see that, just to be super careful out there, because there's people out there who are going to lie to you no matter what. So if you come in here in these chats like we had earlier with the trolls bringing in that stuff, I'm going to stop my stream and call you out on it. Or we'll have a conversation, however you want to look at it, It can go either way. It's totally up to you. I match energy, so meet me where I am, or I'm coming to where you're at, and it may not end well. I don't know. Now I'm just rambling. Well, Joe, we'll be looking forward to seeing what you and Miss Shorty got going on over there tonight in your conversation.
It's gonna be interesting, I guarantee.
Well, I will definitely come in. Y'all gonna do it on Miss Shorty's channel, right? Didn't we drop her
Yes,
link?
correct.
Okay. All right. Great.
Oh,
Yeah. I think that's the link there. If not, we'll make sure we get that link in there for you guys. Go over and check that out tonight, and then go over and I'll watch that drunk turkey at my leisure. Like, hopefully I won't pull my usual and like go to lie on the bed and just take a rest for a minute, turn it on to listen, and fall asleep. Right, Dolphin?
Well, I mean, if they're playing the actual audio, I doubt you'll fall asleep, but yeah.
This is true. This is true. But maybe if I feel like I'm going to be going to sleep, I have to get my ass up and go sit outside for a little while. But it's all cloudy here today. Apparently we got rain coming this evening. Actually, oh, that's right. My son said we got something about some tornado warnings and stuff coming tomorrow. I'm like, oh, we got that birthday party. We'll see. I don't watch the weather, clocks, or calendars. I'm a weirdo. Or am I just less stressed because I don't watch all those things?
Maybe.
Yeah, I learned the secret of life. Accidentally. I don't know why I hate clocks and calendars. Like, don't tell me I got to be somewhere and go somewhere at a certain time. Watch me not do it. I will talk myself out of it. Anyway. All right, guys. So enough of me just rambling now. I appreciate my co-host as usual, Joe Schmo, Firefly, Dolphin. Always great to have you guys on panel and discussing the cases with us. And everybody in chat, thank you for coming in and listening to what we have to say and enjoying what we're getting good feedback from you guys. So appreciate it that you are enjoying it here. Please hit the like button because it does help, and it helps get the show out there and what we're talking about out there. It's not a do it for me situation. I think it's important that, if we can get, because it seems like the crazy shows were getting pushed out to the algorithm so much more than the other types of shows about this case. So if we can do something to change that, then we need to do that. So if y'all don't mind, hit the like button, all the things. That way it helps get it into the algorithm. And maybe more people will see it, you know what I mean? And start to realize some of this stuff that they're seeing and hearing is not true. Well, thank you, Miss Shorty. Pokemon, I appreciate you. Forrest, as always, I appreciate my two mods there. Y'all are fantastic. We wouldn't be able to do it without you. Firefly, you are also a fantastic mod. Joe's a mod. Joe's up here co-hosting a lot. But I appreciate all you guys. And Joe, thanks again for gifting memberships. So generous of you.
Of course, welcome in new members, new lead
Yeah.
investigators.
I can't wait for you to be able to get members on your channel, man. We can give you super chats and things, but we can't do memberships yet.
We're so close.
We're
Like
close.
205.
He's
205.
getting there. He's getting there. So you guys go over and subscribe to Joe. It's free. Let's get his numbers up there so he can get it on up there. Because Joe does do a lot of boots on the ground. He does a lot of FOIA requests. Even when I placed a call to him the other night, he didn't even hesitate. He just did it. And that stuff does take money, you know, and it takes time and effort. And we do put a lot of time and effort into what we're doing. So go over and subscribe to Joe and let's help get his numbers up as well. And again, thank you for coming in, everybody. I appreciate it. And as soon as we get new information coming down, we'll schedule up a live and get it going. If nothing comes down between now and Sunday, then I'll see you on Sunday morning. Have a great day, everyone.
See you later.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from Little Yas to each